doing this 24 years now, and there were years where we had some really big storms, and then you come to this year, and it's been 10 years since we've had anything like that. And I really think people were kind of itching for a really good storm. Well, here you go. You definitely got it.
That is for sure. Anything else you'd like to add just as we look ahead to the next 6 to 12 hours, more of the cleanup efforts that are going to be coming?
Yeah, overnight and beyond too, Fritzy, in the beginning of next week, and people may be trying to get out and go to work.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be when we maybe have some issues. The nice thing is that this happened on a Sunday when churches are closed now, and a lot of businesses are closed, so that people don't have to risk their own safety to go out. For the overnight, the concern is the temperatures, the frigid temperatures that we're going to get, and anything that may be plowed away and then drifted back over could turn to black ice. So please leave yourself plenty of time if you have to go anywhere.
Fritzy, it means the world to us that you took some time out of your very busy morning to come on with Gabby and I here on Fox 43. Appreciate it so much, and we'll be talking real soon, okay?
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Well, the snow, of course, causing some dangerous conditions on the roads, as you just heard. State leaders asking people to stay home. That's the message we've been saying all morning long. Our
live team coverage continues right now with our Robert Stover, keeping a close eye on conditions in Carlisle, Cumberland County, right in front of the Harrisburg Pike. Robert, the bitter cold temperatures, huge part of this. Right. Also, the impact it's having on major roadways, as we just wrapped up talking to Fritzy there. Tell us what you're seeing and if you have any concerns over what you've been observing throughout the morning here.
Well, I haven't had too many concerns about people disrespecting or not abiding to some of the new restrictions that have been, put in place as a result of the weather. Just some things that I've been observing have been happening to us. For instance, the vehicle that we've been in since about 6 o'clock this morning, we've had it on, so it's a nice warm place to sit down after each hit. But because we're still outside in the elements, the snow is turning to sleet, making it a little bit more wet. It is starting to freeze on parts of the car, so we haven't had an opportunity to kind of lift up the windshield wipers. So I think that's something that people should keep in mind if they do need to travel on the road, is preparing their vehicle to travel on the road. That means clearing it from all ice, snow, other debris, so nothing is obstructed at all. We have seen quite a few vehicles, even some of those larger trucks as well, maybe not have the most clarity, especially when you have windy conditions like this. Your field of view is going to be a little bit obstructed, and it's likely to stay that way over the next few hours. So I would keep that in mind as you make your way onto the road. Again, only if you have to. And if you are on the road, something that I remember Fritz and I talking about on plenty of occasions is giving yourself space from other vehicles, trucks, especially those PennDOT vehicles that are moving snow and other material off of the road. You don't want to be caught in that, and you want to make sure that you give that vehicle enough room to do its job without being obstructed. So it's sort of those reminders, if you do have to get onto the road, keep those in mind. Have an emergency kit with you in case you get stranded on the road, maybe a slide. Just exercise caution, but of course, the best bit of advice for drivers is to not get behind the wheel at all unless you absolutely have to. We're going to continue to monitor the conditions here, which have been fairly quiet for the past 30 minutes, and we'll give you more information available in next 30 minutes or so, both on air and online at fox43.com. Live in Carlisle, Cumberland County, Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
Robert, some fantastic advice there. And just like you mentioned, Fritzy with PennDOT, she told us earlier that a car did go right into a plow. So give those plows room. And as you've been saying, just stay home. That's the best advice. Thanks so much.
Good morning, everybody. Temperature sitting only right around 10 degrees right now. This is a very cold storm. However, even with temperatures down here at the surface sitting that low, we're starting to see things change over as expected, and at least mixing in with some sleet across parts of Adams County, York, and Lancaster. And that is where we had those slightly lighter totals. It's all relative with this storm, but 6 to 12 inches of snow from Gettysburg to York to Lancaster because of sleet mixing in with that snow, and that is starting to occur right now. Now, north and west of Harrisburg, that's where you get into the deeper cold air from the ground all the way up to the clouds, and that's where things will stay predominantly snow. 2 is what it feels like right now in Duncannon, 1 in Lewistown, 2 below in Carlisle, and it's through here between Carlisle and Duncannon to Lewistown, and especially, again, Port Royal, the Milroy area. Snowfall totals could go up and over 15 or 16 inches of snow before things start to back off. Snow moving from southwest to northeast now. Even though some sleet is mixing in now across Adams, York, and Lancaster counties, as the heavier precipitation rates come back in, it will likely go back over to some snow or a snow-sleet mix. Things are backing off just a little bit here right now. You notice some lighter rates coming in from the south and southwest, but looking at what's happening here further to the south and west, a lot of heavier precip down into Ohio and West Virginia and Kentucky, and all of that still has to move off to the east and northeast. And as the heavier precipitation comes through, it actually cools things off between us and up to the clouds. So that should allow things to go back over to snow for a time, and then we'll kind of just go back and forth between snow and sleet right along in south of 30 for the rest of the day. The back end of the storm system is still back across Illinois and southward into western Kentucky, so we have about another 12 hours or so to deal with this, a long-lasting storm here in south central Pennsylvania. Throughout our Sunday, temperatures climbing slowly into the middle to upper teens later this afternoon and into tonight. Snow tapering off later on tonight to flurries, freezing drizzle, and sleet pellets. Storm system winds down overnight, but then the winds really begin to crank up during the day tomorrow with that blowing snow threat. We'll talk about that and those bitterly cold temperatures on the way for our week ahead, all coming up.
Tony, thank you. A live look right now at our radar. You can see snow moving all across the state this morning and beyond. Tony and Jacob, they've got you covered here in studio, and then we have multiple reporters live out in the field. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Good morning, everybody. Snow continues to come down fast and furious across a good chunk of south central Pennsylvania. This is our Harrisburg Skycam right now. Visibility really cut back with the heavier, steadier snow moving through as you progress southward. Let's say you start off around Harrisburg and Carlisle. You head south, whether it's on 81 or down 11, 15, 83. Eventually, you run into sleet as you move southward, and some sleet mixing in with the snow across southern parts of Franklin County, Adams County, York, and also Lancaster. And that is where our snowfall expectations have been a little bit lower. Still a significant storm, but the sleet coming in now is going to cut down on those totals, 6 to 12 inches. North and west of there, 12 to as much as 16. From Harrisburg to, let's say, Shippensburg, northwestward, and it's around Lewistown. That appears to be the bullseye for the heaviest amounts of snow in our area. Somewhere between Lewistown, the State College, DuBois, back to the south, back to around Johnstown, somewhere right through here will likely come in between 20 and 21 inches of snow before this storm tapers off later on tonight. Big storm for the entire Keystone State. Visibility, quarter of a mile in many spots to a half mile, slightly better around Chambersburg and York because of sleet mixing in, and those smaller sleet pellets allow you to see out just a little bit further compared to the big snowflakes that are falling to the north. 10 degrees right now in Harrisburg, 10 in Carlisle. With the wind, there's a bit of a breeze out there. It feels like it's 3 below in Carlisle, 4 below right now in Lebanon. Snow continues to move from southwest to northeast. Some areas getting sleet in with the snow right now. Precipitation rates as they back off to a lighter snow. That will allow the sleet to mix in. As the snow picks back up, it will change back over to predominantly snow as the heavier rates come through from southwest to northeast. And this is a wide-ranging storm. Heavier precip all the way down into Tennessee this morning, and that continues to just move its way northeastward into our bitterly cold Arctic air. Wind coming in now from the east between 5 and 15. They will turn around to the north and northwest. Those wind gusts will tomorrow and gust up to 30 to maybe even 35. So a lot of blowing and drifting snow across the region for Monday, and then heading into early Tuesday with those gusty winds and air temperatures falling into the lower single digits. Wind chills Tuesday morning between 10 and 20 below. Futurecast, the progression of this storm through the rest of today. Snow at times mixing with some sleet right along and south of 30. You're most vulnerable to that sleet mixing in here and there throughout the afternoon and into this evening. North and west, though, of Harrisburg, it is all snow, and it's going to come down fast and furious into late this evening and the first part of tonight. Then overnight, our storm system leaves. We are dry tomorrow morning, but then the winds are picking up, blowing and drifting snow across the area from Monday. Weather impact alert for that. Weather impact alert Tuesday because of the bitterly cold temperatures. Wind chills in the morning between 10 and 20 below, and it doesn't get much better throughout the entire week. In fact, Thursday morning and again Friday morning, we'll likely have wind chills both of those days as cold as 10 to 20 below once again right through the end of the week.
Do you guys sound okay? Actually, I probably need to move this. Whoop.
11:25 on your Sunday morning. Welcome back. The snow continues piling up all across south central PA, and crews, they're working hard to try to salt and clear the roads.
Trying to stay ahead of the storm and the snow, which is coming down at a pretty good clip. We're going to check in with our Sedona Meadows. She's live in York County for us. She's overlooking I-83 there. The check on conditions. Sedona, you've been out there for about 3 hours now, even longer. Tell us about the number of plows you've seen, how passable I-83 looks, and anything else that's kind of come across your way so far.
Yeah, guys, so we have seen quite a few plows coming onto the interstate this morning. Yeah, so several times. You've been seeing every couple hours coming through again, because I know, as Fritzy mentioned, it's hard to get back to those certain areas that they were in before. But you can see that this parking lot that we're in has been plowed. Look at this mountain of snow that they have just kind of shoved off to the side. You can see a lot of snow has collected here in this parking lot itself. But again, like I said, several of these plows have been coming through I-83 just to make sure that the vehicles, it's passable for vehicles. We have seen some cars around the area too on the interstate, not a ton. And again, we are seeing a fire truck going on the interstate right now as well. So, essential workers, those that have been coming out here onto the roadway. So thankfully, people are taking it slow over in this area. And then we do want to show you some of the snow that's collected on some of the cars this morning. So you can see over here, this blue vehicle, you can see a lot of that snow has collected from the front of that, and then also on the top of it as well. But you can see to the side, there's no snow on the side, because you can feel that wind as it's coming through. It's actually blown off a bit of the snow from some of the tops of the vehicles. So I think it really speaks to the wind, the conditions that we've been seeing around here. So it's definitely been interesting to feel that change too. And then with the snow as well, it's starting to feel a bit harder. It's not as soft as we were seeing in the beginning of this morning. So we're kind of feeling that change as well. But like I said, a lot of plows have been working very hard on the interstate. We can see the plow, that's the independent plow that was coming through the parking lot here, and the mountain of snow that they have built right here. So definitely a lot that's been collecting here. We have been checking with our yardstick as well to kind of get an idea of how much is collecting here. Earlier I did a check over there on like a flat surface to see that it was about 6-7 inches. So it's definitely collecting each hour more and more. So we're going to continue to keep you updated here on the air, and then also as our stream too. But for now, live in York County, Sedona Meadows, Fox 43 News.
Sedona, even since we saw you last, I can really hear the snow pelting you now. It sounds like there's been a change in just the way it's coming down.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it definitely is like pinging my face, so you could feel that iciness. It kind of hurts as it's hitting the face. So definitely a lot harder than it was this morning.
Been there, girl.
Still, every time we've checked in with Sedona, yeah, I almost said been there, girl,
We've
too.
been
That
out there.
wouldn't be a great idea for me to say that. Hey, listen, Sedona, honestly, a ghost town, though. Just not seeing a lot of people around you.
Right.
Few and far between even in seeing any trucks or cars on 83 right now.
Yeah, it's been very, very quiet. Not a lot of trucks. You can see one vehicle is on there, a lone vehicle, but it's been very, very quiet. I-83 is usually a very busy, interstate. So the fact that it's so quiet right now, that's good news that people are listening and they're staying off the roadways unless they absolutely have to. And then obviously Primanti's, this is a ghost town. It's Sunday, it's football season, but they are closed. So it's very, very quiet. Definitely you would not see this place quiet like this on a normal day.
Good to see people abiding to the conditions, staying off the roads. Sedona, thanks so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sedona. And right now I want to take a live look at Lewistown. The reason you want to go up to Mifflin County right now, which is a good bit north of where we are here in York County at the Fox 43 studios, is that it's where our weather team believes we're going to see some of the larger accumulation totals here when this storm is all over with and done. But right now it's coming down, as I mentioned, a pretty good clip, 1.5, 2 inches an hour in some spots. We're on top of it for you. We're going through it together with you, and we'll be right back on the other side of this break.
This morning on Fox 43, the winter weather continues and snow is piling up all across South Central PA.
Our Alex Cawley capturing this video in York of his drive into the station this morning, taking it slow, but getting through. The special edition of Fox 43 Morning News starts right now.
11:33 on your Sunday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gabrielle Mediak.
And good morning, everybody. I'm James Tully. Yes, we're keeping you up to date with everything you need to know here about this storm as the snow continues to fall all across our area. Our Jacob Hitz joining us here on desk to talk about it. Biggest headline for Jacob right now, we're talking about it, would be the changeover. This sleet is here in many parts.
And this has been something that we've been fretting a little bit in the weather office, like, okay, when is this sleet line going to come? Because it's going to have an impact on our snow totals overall. The spots that see a little more of that sleet, they'll in turn get a little less snow. So as we were shifting that line from maybe our 6 to 12 to our 12 to 16 that we've been showing in our snow totals, that's hinged upon, okay, where is this sleet going to end up? Now we're starting to see some sleet in spots all the way as east as Lancaster County, but especially York County, Adams County, and parts of Franklin County right now. Here are snow totals right now, 7.5 at York. That was picked up right here at the station. 7.5 as well up at Campbelltown in Lebanon County near Palmyra. 6.5 at Millersville. 6 right now at Chambersburg in Franklin County. And then down here, McSherrystown, they're right around 6 inches as well. Wirtsville over in Cumberland County, they're up to around 8 inches of snow at this point in time. And of course, those numbers just going to keep going on the climb as we go through the rest of this morning. Current conditions are pretty quiet out there on satellite and radar. This is, of course, the roadways out there. We do have a little bit of a line forming on the roads either direction, 81 near Shippensburg, but for the most part, snow-covered and completely snow-covered from 81 at US 11 towards Carlisle to Mifflintown at 22 and 322, even 30 headed over the Wrights Ferry Bridge there towards York County. Now, of course, that winter storm warning lasting until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And we're going to shift to Tony here to talk about not only more sleet that we're expecting as we get to this afternoon as well, but of course the winds will pick up as we get to tomorrow. And with this light powdery snow, that wind is going to bring that snow right back onto the roadway, Tony.
Yeah, that's going to be a problem, Jake, right throughout our Monday. Blowing and drifting snow tomorrow. So even after the storm is gone, the falling snow over and done with, we're still going to deal with the after effects of it into Monday and also Tuesday as the next shot of bitterly cold Arctic air heads off to the south and southeast. Winter storm warnings continue through 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The really heavy snowfall totals roughly from around 81 and 78 northwestward. Then once you get to Duncannon, to Port Royal, to Lewistown, that's our bullseye zone for picking up upwards of 15 to maybe 18 inches of snow before things are all said and done later on this evening. As you progress further south and southeast, sleet mixing in with the snow, or in some cases changing over to all sleet for a time and then going back over to snow. It will sort of just waffle back and forth as we go throughout the rest of the day. Travel conditions not real good across the entire area, either because of heavy snow or sleet and snow both falling. 6 to 12 inches of snow across Adams County, York, and Lancaster. North and west of there, it stays predominantly snow, and that's where your higher totals will end up. Today through Tuesday, weather impact alert. Today because of the storm, tomorrow because of the wind and the blowing snow, and Tuesday because of another shot of bitterly cold Arctic air. We're talking wind chills Tuesday morning, 10 to 20 below. Once again, and we're going to do it again later in the week, it looks like. This is a very long stretch of very cold weather coming in here, it looks like, for quite some time. Limit travel today, even tomorrow if you can. Of course, a lot of you going back to work. There may be some school schedule adjustments, certainly for Monday, as this storm continues to linger, and the frostbite risk goes up quite a bit as we head into Tuesday morning because of those gusty winds. Snow, sleet falling across Adams, York, and Lancaster County. So mixing in and out of the area throughout the entire rest of our morning and now pushing into the afternoon. Even though it's not warming up, we're seeing a slightly above freezing layer of air just between the clouds and where we are down here at the surface. So the snowflake comes down, it melts into a raindrop and then refreezes into an ice pellet, and that's sleet, and that's what we're seeing now across a large part of the area right along 30 and to the south and southeast. Temperatures right now a few degrees either side of 10. With the breeze, it feels like it's 0 or a bit below across a good chunk of the area currently. Snow and sleet Moving from southwest to northeast, there's still plenty in the pipeline off to the south and southwest. And notice that mix line, the pink or the salmon, depending on your TV screen, now getting up into parts of Maryland. And it is indeed mixing in with the snow here all the way up to 30 from Bedford east to Lancaster. And that may even rise a bit further north as we go into the early part of this afternoon.
Tony, thanks so much. Our storm coverage continues now. I want to take a look at how things are going in our eastern counties.
Yeah, we're checking in on Lancaster County. We're joined now live by Dwayne Hagelgans, the Fire Commissioner of Blue Rock Fire Rescue and Emergency Management Coordinator for Millersville Borough and Manor Township. So, Dwayne, you are a busy guy. We've so appreciated your patience this morning, checking back in and out with you. What are things looking like in your neck of the woods?
Well, I can tell you that it's still coming down pretty hard, but it looks a lot less like snow and a lot more like sleet. And,
that's what we've been seeing too, yes.
It's not good.
How so?
So obviously we would love, I mean, I don't like 12 inches of snow, but I'll take it over this sleet. As the sleet comes down, it makes it harder. It certainly makes it harder for the crews out there trying to keep the roads clear, and it makes it a lot more challenging for the neighbors, especially if we start to see power outage.
Yeah, Dwayne, go ahead with that change over to sleet. You know, Jacob and Tony here in our weather center telling us that is happening right now. You're seeing it too. With that happening, what are your biggest concerns there in the Millersville area as we move into the afternoon?
Yeah, 100%. Our biggest concern is if this keeps coming down, this sleet, and it starts to take down trees, starts to take down electric wires, people lose power. You know, we have a pretty big area here that's rural, and if the power goes out, it makes it very challenging, especially for those utility workers, and especially for our public workers. The public works people are doing a great job for us all morning, but the sleet makes it a lot more challenging than snow.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Have you guys been seeing any trouble spots, speaking of?
Well, so far we've been pretty good here. The beauty of it is, as I look out the window all morning, all I see is snow plows from the public works, not many citizens, so that's good. And if you don't mind, I would say if people are out shoveling, if you have a fire hydrant near you, please clear that fire hydrant, so if heaven forbid something happens, the firefighters are ready.
All right, he's Dwayne Hagelgans, Fire Commissioner of Blue Rock Fire Rescue there in Millersville Borough. Keeping us updated, Dwayne. You're someone we're going to be checking back in with as we head into the afternoon, but good to hear so far. So good. I know you have concerns about this sleet coming in, but I also know you're on top of it. Appreciate your time, Dwayne.
Thanks so much, Dwayne. Of course, as we've been mentioning, the snow causing dangerous conditions on the roads. State leaders urging people to just stay off of them if they can.
Absolutely. Our live team coverage continues right now with our Robert Stover. He's in Carlisle right now, Cumberland County, overlooking the Harrisburg Pike. Robert, that changeover to sleet, you're still feeling that as well, correct?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely sort of been like a subtle difference from snow to sleet. The main difference is I can hear and I can kind of feel the sleet as it's hitting my coat. You know, just the fabric, the material itself makes it more impactful. So that's how we've been able to determine a transition is happening or has already happened. Just kind of adding to the layers of snow and a little bit of slush. That's something that's started to develop on our vehicles. So I can't imagine what it's going to look like on the road behind me, specifically on Harrisburg Pike. You know, we haven't seen too much activity when it comes to traffic throughout this morning. Yes, we have seen some vehicles come by, but for the most part, people have been, you know, I would say have been exercising caution. We have had a few PennDOT vehicles and a few other landscaping vehicles with the snow plows on them make their way in and out of the area onto Harrisburg Pike. I haven't seen too much traffic exit or enter the Turnpike or Interstate 81, so I think most people are staying home. But downtown Carlisle itself is about 5 or 10 minutes up that way there. So we have seen some people kind of try to make it on foot. Whether you're in the car or you're on foot, just exercise caution. Make sure if you are behind the wheel, give other vehicles enough space so nothing doesn't happen in case you drift. And if you are going to make a walk outside, most places are closed today, but if you do have to go somewhere and you're going to do it on foot, make sure you're bundled up, you have enough dry clothing, maybe some hand warmers if you have them. You know, it's better to be proactive rather than reactive when it comes to situations like this. We have also been periodically checking things online mind to make sure no incidences have come up in our area. Haven't seen much, so I think for the most part, things are calm in terms of how people are dealing with the weather. It's the weather itself that has just become a little bit more variable and definitely harder to kind of work through. So we're going to throw it back to you in the studio, live in Carlisle, Cumberland County. Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
Hey, Robert, there you go. Some people working on the roads right behind you, and we love to see that.
And we certainly love to see it.
Especially with the snow coming down at the clip that it has been. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks a lot, Robert. Though you're listening to Robert, though you hear it on his microphone.
Oh, yeah.
That is definitely sleet coming down. That changeover is happening. And with this severe weather, restrictions are in place across major roadways throughout the state. Transportation leaders have enacted Tier 4 restrictions starting at midnight last night. So here's what that means. It means no commercial vehicles are allowed on the roads. It also bans school buses, motorcycles, RVs, passenger vehicles from roads. The impacts of the entirety of Pennsylvania, this, I should say, impacts all of the turnpike, all turnpike extensions, as well as Routes 15, 322. Those who are permitted to drive must be at 45 miles per hour or less. There's no set time limit for when these restrictions are expected to be lifted, but we have more on these right now on fox43.com. I'll condense it for you. Cars, trucks, emergency vehicles. That's it. That's who is allowed on the roadways. All right, Tony, over to you.
And our very cold storm system continues to unfold across the area. Snow and now sleets falling across portions of the area. The further south and east that you go, the more in the way of sleets you will have cutting down on snowfall totals. A mess underway here in our part of the world. Right now, it's only 10 in Harrisburg, 10 in Carlisle, 11 in York, 9 currently in Lewistown. And once you're from Harrisburg northwestward, that is where predominantly snow will fall, and it's across Mifflin and Juniata counties. That could end up with as much as 16 to maybe 18 inches of snow before things are all said and done later on today. Temperatures around 10 with the breeze that we do have. It makes it feel like it's 5 below right now in Lebanon, 3 below currently in Carlisle. Satellite radar, this is our loop over the last couple of hours. Snow, sleet, moving from southwest to northeast. Now at times, precipitation rates start to back off and you get a fast changeover to some sleet. When the heavier rates come back through, what happens is it cools things off from the cloud down to the ground. What's going on here currently with a bit of a lull in the precip, especially here in Franklin, Adams, York, and then now into Lancaster County, as that lull moves in, some slightly warmer air, again, just above freezing air, moves into an area right below the cloud and right above the ground. So the snowflakes come out of the clouds, but then they melt into a water droplet and then refreeze to a sleet pellet, an ice pellet, and make their way down to the ground. As the heavier rates come back from the south and west, it cools off just a little bit, just enough, and things change back over to some snow. And we're kind of going to go back and forth, it looks like, for the rest of today, especially from Harrisburg southward, with snow, sleet, and maybe even some freezing drizzle later on today. Lower teens now. We're only going to hit the mid to upper teens later on this afternoon into this evening. Storm system moves away tonight, and then those gusty winds move in from Monday. We'll talk about that in a very cold week ahead, all coming up.
Tony, thanks so much. Here's a look at live radar. This storm moving its way through, and there's still a bit more to come. A lot more from us here after this break. Stay with us. You're watching Fox 43.
The snow and now sleet continues across south central PA, and at a pretty good clip at that. Some spots seeing 2 inches per hour. Our live coverage continues this morning with Fox 43's Natalie Caranda.
She is live in Manchester Township, York County, with an update. Natalie, how have conditions changed there for you in the past hour? We started to see that sleet change over where you are, right next to Arsenal Road, I believe, Route 30.
Yeah, we actually got to move up 883, just a couple exits up. We are now at exit 33 in Yoakumtown, and right behind me you can see we are actually with PennDOT. We are at one of their maintenance facilities, and they are currently loading up their vehicles. They're doing a shift change right now, which means they are switching out drivers, bringing some of those plows that have been on the roads all morning back here. And they're also filling them back up with salt and salt brine to get their stuff back on the roads and everything. So you can kind of see the activity going on all around here. They're moving things in, moving people out. It's all happening here, and they are the ones that are keeping these roads as safe as they possibly can be for all those essential workers that have to be out today, like themselves. So if you, again, don't have to be on the roads today, just make sure that you do stay home and that you do have time inside, because it is still getting really cold and it's definitely starting to feel a lot heavier. So again, we are here at PennDOT watching the activity go on, and I guess we'll be here for a little bit longer to keep up with them and see what all they're going to be doing in the next half hour or so.
Well, no doubt they are going to be very busy, and they've been pretty busy throughout the day. What have you seen in terms of the snow falling down around you? I mean, I know that we've been talking about the sleet and you began telling us about that, but what has the difference been like you've been out there standing in it?
Yeah, it's definitely not as fluffy, I would say, as it was this morning when we were all waking up and it looked gorgeous and everything. It's definitely feeling heavier. It's feeling more wet. You can kind of see it on some of the cars that it does feel more wet now. So I would say that is the only way I can describe it. In 83, it did seem a little bit slick, but they're trying to take care of it as best as they can as well.
Yeah, and you get a first-hand look there, Natalie, at all the crews coming in there to that salt barn, getting reloaded and out on the roads. Just a freminder for anybody, we talked to Fritzy with PennDOT a little bit earlier. She said that when it comes down 1.5, 2 inches an hour, there's only so much they can do. In many spots, those plows, it'll take an hour plus for them to do another pass through.
Yep.
So it's hard to keep up with it.
They're doing their best. I know we're all doing our best, and we'll let you get back in the car so you can warm up.
Yeah, warm up, Natalie.
Thanks so much.
Of the latter part of last week and into this weekend, we did nudge our 12 to 16, 6 to 12 lines around just a little bit. So we started to see the threat, the risk of some sleet mixing in with the snow, and that indeed has come true. Right along 30, especially here from Franklin County through Adams, through York, and into Lancaster, and even further north and west from there, some of that sleet is starting to mix in as well. However, still significant amounts of snow, no doubt about that. 6 to 12 inches south of Harrisburg, north and west of Harrisburg, 12 to as much as 16. Could even be some higher amounts across parts of Mifflin County before things are all said and done. Later on today and into tonight, very wide-reaching storm, high-impact storm across the entire Keystone State, not winding down until later this evening and heading into tonight. Visibility, 1/4 mile in Harrisburg with some heavier snow moving through, 1/4 mile in Lewistown. Same story with heavier snow passing through. As you go further south and southwest, visibility coming up just a little bit because of sleet pellets mixing in, and you can see out just a little bit further. Temperatures right now, low teens with the wind feeling like it's between 0 and 5 below across much of the region. That's nothing compared to what's coming in Monday night and Tuesday. It will feel as cold as 10 to 15 below. Maybe even a bit colder than that, especially north and west of Harrisburg early Tuesday morning. This is our satellite loop with radar. Last couple of hours, everything moving from southwest to northeast. At times, precipitation rates backing off. That's allowing for some of that sleet to start to mix in. But as soon as the heavier stuff comes back in from the south and west, and again, there's plenty of it in the pipeline here across West Virginia, Kentucky, and southern Ohio, those heavier rates come through, it cools things off and allows some snow to mix back in. And we'll kind of see that off and on throughout the rest of today. Wind from the east, 5 to 15, picking up a little bit, gusting up to about 20 or so, 25 at times this afternoon. Tomorrow, gust to 30 to 35. Blowing and drifting snow, and then those higher wind speeds with the Arctic air coming in Tuesday morning. That's when we get those really cold wind chills. Futurecast, rest of today, snow, sleet mixing in from time to time, precipitation ongoing right into the evening hours, and then starting to back off later on tonight. We'll see the flurries and snow showers come to an end later tonight, heading into the wee hours of tomorrow morning. Monday will be dry. We'll see some sun, but it's going to be cold and windy with blowing and drifting snow. And look how cold it stays all the way through the end of the week and into the weekend. We're not going to see freezing again for quite some time, it looks like, heading into the early parts of the new month.
The snow and sleet continues to fall all across South Central PA, and our Fox 43 team, we're going to be here with you all day long. You can join us on Fox 43 Plus, along with many other avenues.
That's right. Fox43.com is also a great place to watch. We'll see you guys then. Have a great and safe rest of your day.
Thanks so much for being with us on this snowy Sunday for Fox 43 News. I'm Jackie DeTore.
And I'm Alex Colley. Time to get a check on that forecast. And ooh, what a forecast it is. Jacob Hitz is here to tell you about what we're seeing outdoors right now.
Look what the cat dragged in. Hi.
We got the whole team here. When it's we're talking about a foot of snow, everybody gets the call to come in. So we all got it.
I'm going to be off all week.
Just for today?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, don't expect us to tell you what day of the week it is because I know today's a
We're
Sunday.
going to skip it.
But
Tomorrow will be Tuesday.
yeah, that'd be nice.
Yep.
I don't think an option, but all right. So let's talk about where we are right now. We had snow starting overnight while it was still dark out, and it is still going at times like 2 inches an hour, getting really rough out there. What are we looking at right now?
Well, right now, the sleet is here. And this got a cheer from the weather office just because of our forecast, not because we want conditions to get worse out there. Let me just clarify. But this is what we've been talking about over these last couple of days. Spots where they get the sleet, less snow as a result. We're now seeing sleet being reported all the way up north is Harrisburg already, which is good for, again, our forecast a little earlier than some, I think, were anticipating this to get here. Let's take a look at snow totals right now. This is, nope, that's satellite and radar. So obviously, again, the snow moving its way through the area, and it's not showing the pink that you would see for sleet, but it is sleeting out there. And let's try this again. Snow totals behind me. Here we go. Wartsville right now at 8 inches over in Cumberland County. Marysville in Perry County just under 8 inches as well. Campbelltown, that's over by Palmyra in Lebanon County. That's at around 7.5 inches, as well as right here in York at the station, anywhere between 7.5 and 8 inches. When I went out and measured about an hour and a half ago or so. Near McSherrystown over in Adams County, they're at around 6 inches right now as of last check. So the snow continuing to come down, but we are getting sleet mixed in again as far north as Harrisburg, including spots from York and Lancaster over to Adams and even Franklin County this morning. Current conditions out there, and you can see some more of the snow on the camera lens there at I-81 at Shippensburg. There is a little more of a groove in the snow out on the roadways there at Ship. Similar story at 81 at Greencastle. Next to nobody on the roads, though, at 222 and 320, or 22 and 322 over in Mifflintown, and 30 at Columbia. Things are pretty snow covered there as well. Of course, we've been talking with Fritzy Schreffler from PennDOT as we've gone through this morning, and you have the crews out there working, but because of how fast the snow has fallen so far throughout this morning and now into the afternoon, the snow comes back and fills the gap that the snowplows were able to remove as they went through. So again, this winter storm warning lasting until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll flip things over to Tony now because he has a look at, okay, what's ahead? Obviously the sleet on its way already here. And from there, the sleet moves through. Things will taper off as we get to this evening. Then we have the wind as we get to tomorrow, and all that light, fluffy snow is going to come back onto the roadways more than likely thanks to that wind, Tony.
Yeah, Jacob, that's going to be a problem for Monday. The falling snow done, but the blowing and drifting snow an issue into Monday. Cold temperatures, winds gusting to 30, maybe even 35 miles per hour throughout the day. So as the road crews get the roads cleaned up, a lot of that snow may end up back over top of them once again with those high wind gusts coming in for tomorrow. Winter storm warnings go through 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. South and east of Harrisburg, 6 to as much as 12 inches of snow with some of that sleet mixing in. North and west of there, 12 to as much as 18 inches would be the high end around Lewistown and Mifflintown, but a broad area of 12 to 16 inches of snow, a high impact storm, and across the entire state of Pennsylvania and also all around us, a wide-reaching winter storm. Sunday through Tuesday, weather impact alert mode. So today it's the falling snow and sleet. Tomorrow it's the blowing snow. Tuesday morning, it's wind chills as low as 10 to 20 below early. Tuesday morning, that dangerously cold weather sticks around. The frostbite risk goes up quite a bit. When those air temperatures and the apparent temperatures drop that low, frostbite can occur in as little as 25 to 30 minutes. Looking at radar now, as we scan the skies, plenty of deep moisture over top of us. It is mostly snow north of the turnpike. South of there, this is where we're seeing some sleet mixing in. Mercersburg, Chambersburg, east to around Cashtown, to Biglerville, to around Hanover and New Oxford, picking up on some sleet. And again, that sleet all the way up to about the turnpike. Temperatures not warming up. Even though we've gone from snow to sleet in some cases, the layer of the atmosphere that has warmed up is just below the clouds. So up at the cloud level, cold for snow, those snowflakes drop. They run through a layer of air that's above 32 degrees. So it melts into a raindrop. but then down below, the air is cold enough, long enough that it refreezes into an ice pellet. And we're seeing that happening now south of the turnpike, and sleet starting to pile up across the southeastern parts of south central Pennsylvania. Temperatures and wind chills, they are cold. It's around 10, but with the breeze, it's right around 0, give or take a couple of degrees. Everything's moving from southwest to northeast. The storm is moving along, but it's a big one. It's all the way still down across Kentucky and Tennessee, and all of that heavy precipitation continues to stream northeastward. So at times, even though you've changed over to sleet now across parts of Adams, York, and Lancaster counties, as the heavier rates come through, it will mix back in with some snow from time to time, and just a very messy, impactful storm right into the afternoon and early evening. We're going to talk more about the gusty winds and the bitterly cold air that's still to come, coming up here a bit later on.
All right, Jacob and Tony, thank you so much for all of those latest updates on the track of the storm and what we're seeing right now. We're going to get back to them soon as we continue to look forward as this massive storm is just rolling through. Now, the snow still causing dangerous conditions on the roads. They are not great out there. And state leaders, they've been telling everybody to stay home.
Yeah, our live team coverage continues with Fox 43's Robert Stover. He is keeping a very close eye on the conditions in Carlisle, Cumberland County. And Robert, cold temperatures not exactly helping things out there today.
No, especially now with that transition from snow to sleet, we are starting to see a couple more vehicles active on the Harrisburg Pike, which is right behind us. Some of those being those PennDOT snow plows, and even some landscaping trucks with the snow plows retrofitted to the front of those too. We've been seeing them come in and out of the area. I'm going to take a step to the side, so maybe we can get one of those. In fact, look, working right on the intersection there, one of those vehicles right now. Like I said, they've been in and out of the area the past couple hours now, but even with these conditions, maybe mildly improving, switching from sleet. Something you want to keep in mind too is that the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, they announced a declaration of disaster emergency yesterday. Now, what this means is that certain government buildings, like the courthouse, for example, and other county facilities, they're going to be closed tomorrow. That all being said, only specific personnel will be allowed in those buildings, those essential workers. Now, what that also means is that the declaration allows county officials to purchase needed supplies, employ temporary workers, and enter into contracts and agreements with vendors in atypical fashion. Basically, what that means is they don't have to go through the normal formalities if there wasn't an extreme circumstance like this snowstorm. So that's been something we've been keeping our eyes and ears out on too. So far though, it's been fairly quiet. We have seen some vehicles on the road, some tractor trailers, and then some pedestrian vehicles. Of course, we've been saying all morning, unless you absolutely have to, don't go out on the road, stay at home. If for some reason you do find yourself on the road, just maintain a safe distance away from other vehicles. There's always that potential of sliding, slipping, turning around. We've reported on some of those things happening across different municipalities throughout the morning, so always keep that in mind. But again, as we've said so much throughout this morning, unless you absolutely have to, stay inside and make sure you're doing things around the house as well to keep you safe, like letting those faucets drip to prevent pipes from freezing over, and just keeping your heater at a comfortable temperature that's not going to overheat or overrun your systems too much to where you might lose power. Now, we're going to be here pretty much the rest of the morning and early afternoon, just keeping an eye on the road conditions, and you can find us on air and online at fox43.com. Live in Carlisle, Cumberland County, Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
All right, Robert, when did you kind of see that shift from snow to sleet and what we're hearing now, just bouncing off of you?
Yeah, I would say the transition, it was very gradual. I think we started to see some of the shift about 2 hours ago. Again, it started off so slow and so light that you could barely hear it, but as the morning has progressed, it has gotten louder. I can hear it bounce off the material, of my clothing. I think that's what everybody at home is hearing now too.
And we've been talking about it too. I mean, the sleet is what is going to cut down on the overall totals. So I feel like right now that it's sleeting, we're going to see a lot more people start to go outside, maybe start to tackle the shoveling, the snow blowing while they think there's a little bit of a break. But those conditions also can get very icy very quickly. So Robert, we're going to continue to check in with you, see how things are going up there, because you are a little bit more north than than some of our other reporters. So we'll see what it ends up being where you are. Thanks so much, Robert. Stay warm.
Now, with the severe weather underway, restrictions are in place across major roadways through the Commonwealth. Transportation leaders enacted Tier 4 restrictions starting at midnight. That means no commercial vehicles are allowed out on the roads. That also bans school buses, motorcycles, RVs, and passenger vehicles from the roads. This impacts the entirety of Pennsylvania Turnpike and all Turnpike extensions, as well as routes 15 and 322. Those who are permitted to drive must drive 45 miles per hour or less. There is no set time limit for when these restrictions are expected to be lifted. We have more details over on fox43.com.
And we've been telling you this all morning. PennDOT, local officials, pretty much everyone everywhere telling people to stay off the roads and avoid travel if you can. So if you don't have to be at work, if you're not an emergency crew, stay put. Now, crews across the Commonwealth are trying to keep the roads clear and safe. However, they warn when it comes to this extreme cold, some of the treatments just kind of stop working. Shrewsbury Borough Manager and Public Works Supervisor Brian Schweitzer said temperatures hanging around in the teens throughout the weekend can make that prep work that they put in less effective right now.
It's going to be pretty cold. Just doesn't work as well. Yeah, it's not working like it should. But once you hit 20 degrees and higher, it'll work.
And also, like we said, they are telling people that you can't stress this enough to stay off the roads. I think that's what we've been seeing a lot of this morning and now into the afternoon, that most people have gotten the memo. They are staying home, but obviously people still have to go to work. Some people are required emergency workers to get into work. So if the roads can be clear for them, that is the jackpot.
Now, PennDOT has announced some closures at driver's license and photo centers this week. Officials say all driver's license and photo centers, including the full-service Harrisburg location, will be closed Monday and Tuesday, January 26th and 27th because of the snow. Customers with road tests will be contacted to reschedule. Many driver and vehicle services remain available online through PennDOT.
Checking out a live look at satellite radar this morning, and things are very active out there as far as snowfall is concerned. Now, this is not picking up on any of the sleet. If we were picking up on the sleet, we would see some of the pink blending in here, especially for our southern spots. It's showing up on the radar as all snow, but obviously with our reporters out and about, we know that there is sleet falling from parts of Lancaster County over through York to Gettysburg, all the way up as far north as Harrisburg this morning, or now into this afternoon. And this is going to pick up throughout the rest of the day. Temperatures right now are still in the low teens. Lewistown still hanging on to the single digits right now at 9 degrees. So a very, very chilly day out there today, and this pattern is going to continue as we go through tomorrow and Tuesday. That's why our weather impact alert is extended as far as it is. It is a little windy out there as well. Gusts or speeds, I should say, anywhere from 5 to 10 up to 15 miles an hour. Feels like 0 in York and Lycans. Look at the jump there from Chambersburg. Went from single digits up to 12. Feels, though, like -5 in Carlisle, -3 in Lebanon and Lancaster. So as you head out to maybe start shoveling, if you're trying to maybe split it up into 2 different shifts, do some today, and then go back out and finish the rest tomorrow, you're going to want to make sure that you are bundled up. It's a similar story as we go through tomorrow once the snow has stopped. Still some heavier bands of snow right now working its way through northern York up towards Carlisle and Cumberland County and sliding its way to the north. There's still more snow to go as we go throughout the rest of the day today, but you can see some of the pink blending in as you get to parts of West Virginia and Maryland. But again, we know that we are seeing some sleet in our southern spots as far north as Harrisburg as we go throughout the day today. The snow will continue. We'll see the sleet continue to mix in as we go through the rest of this afternoon into this evening. Snow and sleet will start to taper off as we get to late this evening and overnight tonight, and then the winds pick back up for tomorrow.
And we're taking another look at that radar that Jacob just showed us there. You can see snow across most of the area, but that sleet is mixing in. Like you mentioned there, not exactly showing on the radar, but we know our reporters are out there, so that is happening. Again, this is going to change totals. This is going to change some things. This is what our weather team has been talking about, that once this sleet comes into play, things are going to start to get icy. It's going to get very cold out there. So this is when travel could become even worse for people, aside from the snow. So be sure to stay with Fox 43. We're going to be giving you the latest updates from all over the area right here. Depending where you live right now, you're either seeing a whole lot of snow fall at a very quick rate per hour, or you're seeing some sleet all over south central Pennsylvania.
That's right. We are checking in with Fox 43 Sedona Meadows now. She is in York Township, York County, and she is watching the conditions there. Sedona, have you seen plows, road crews continuing to go by since you started?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, the last several hours, we've seen several plows on I-83. We've had a really good view of the work that they've been doing on I-83, but it is, like Fritzy had said earlier, that, they can only come to the same spot again every couple hours. So they definitely have been moving through, and we have been checking to see how much the snow has been collecting in this area. We are near the Hampton Inn and Primanti's, so this is an untouched spot. So we've been kind of checking in to see what we're seeing in terms of inches. It has, depending on what spot you try it, it's about 6.5, 7 that is collected in this area alone. So we have seen some independent plows that have been coming through the parking lot as well, just kind of pushing some of the snow off to the side. We can see huge mountains of snow here in the parking lot. But we've seen, thankfully, it's been a really quiet area over here. People are not out like they're not really supposed to be right now, especially if you don't need to be out in this mess. But we have seen, again, like I said, those plows out on I-83. We've seen fire trucks. We've seen EMS. So a lot of the first responders that need to be out, they have been out here on the roadways. But thankfully, we haven't seen too many vehicles out here. But yeah, it's definitely, we've been feeling the ice. You know, we definitely felt the snow earlier this morning. It was a lighter, fluffier snow, and now we're just getting pelted in the face with ice, so it's a little painful. If you don't need to be outside today, I definitely recommend you to stay inside and stay warm. We did check earlier, a couple hours ago, we did do some color in the snow to see how much had collected, and so you can barely see that blue food dye that's in the snow here. That has been covered throughout the morning. So we're gonna do another little test, and we're gonna check in here and see how it does over the next couple hours, because we will be out here. But you can see all that food dye. It's gonna be hard to miss, but with all the snow and how it's been collecting, I think it's gonna probably cover pretty soon. So again, like we've always been saying, if you do have to be out on the roadways today, just really take it slow. Be careful, don't follow too closely with other vehicles. We can see that car is actually coming on the interstate right now. This is not very good visibility, so definitely do not come out on to the interstate at this time. But yeah, we've been seeing that change in conditions in terms of the light fluffy snow to now that icy feel on the face. So I'm going to continue to keep you guys updated throughout the morning, I guess afternoon now. We don't even know what time it is. We've been out here for so long. So we're going to continue to keep you guys updated. But for now, live in your county, Sedona Meadows, Fox 43 News.
All right, Sedona, I feel bad asking a question because you just said the ice is pelting you in the face. So I'm not trying to keep you out there longer than you need to be. I promise. Just a question about, because where you are, you're overlooking Interstate 83, and you've been there for 5+ hours at this point. So now that it's kind of transitioned to sleet where you are you seeing more cars on the road? What's it looking like on 83 from where you are, if you can even see it?
I would say it is a lot less now, so we can see, like right now, this quiet. We see one vehicle that's trying to get on the interstate right now. It is very quiet, so thankfully there's not too many vehicles. We see one truck, but I would say over the last couple hours, it is definitely lessened. We were seeing a couple more vehicles, in the early morning when that snow was a little bit more fluffy. There wasn't much concern about that iciness, but yeah, they're taking it slow this morning as they get on. And it also, we were seeing in the last couple hours people going the wrong way onto the interstate, taking that exit ramp when they're supposed to be going on the on-ramp. So we are witnessing that. So yeah, it's definitely a scary visibility, scary situation, and you're going to want to make sure that you stay off the roadways if you can.
Well, as you were talking, we just saw somebody pull it into reverse on the off-ramp right there. Alex and I came in a little later than you, a couple hours later than you. I can tell you, when I was getting on that ramp, you're right by the station, on-off ramps really haven't been touched yet. Yeah. So while if you can get on 83, things are pretty much clear there, but you don't know what the on and off ramps are going to look like. And we just saw it right there behind you. A guy had to pull it into reverse and kind of get around. And he was in a car that looked like it had four-wheel drive. Yes. So keep that in mind here. We're talking, 7-8 inches of snow, depending on what that wind is looking like. That's a lot of snow for you to try to get through, no matter what vehicle you have. So great information, Sedona. Okay, we've kept you out long enough. Get inside, warm up. We'll check back with you after you just when you get warm is then we'll probably check back with you again. Thanks so much.
Cruel and unusual punishment right there, being stuck out in the snow. And we'll check in with them in just a little bit. Meanwhile, live look over Harrisburg this morning. Move the camera a little bit. You can see the snow on the rooftops out there. 11 degrees right now, but we do have, of course, the snow and the sleet falling over Harrisburg. Some reduced visibility, but it looks a lot better than it did a little earlier this morning, thanks to some of that sleet mixing in instead of just snow. 11 degrees, feels like it's 1 because of the breeze. This is a look over Arapahoe Township over in Lancaster County. It shows it's just cloudy, but I promise there is snow falling out across the area. We're going to check out Harrisburg one last time, and then we're going to move along to somewhere else. Here we go. Here's our snow map for this entire event. 12 to 16 for majority of the state, especially to the north and to the west of I-81 and 78. The further south you are, that less chance of picking up to around a foot of snow, and that is because of that sleet mixing in. The more sleet you get, that's going to lead to a little less snowfall for you. Here's visibility right now, down to a half a mile in Lebanon and Carlisle, as well as in York, up to 1.5 miles in Lancaster. That helps with the little bit of sleet mixing through, and a 1/4 mile in Harrisburg and in Lewistown this morning. Temperatures again down into the low teens across the area. 12 in Lebanon and Lancaster. It feels like we are down in the negatives for most spots. across the area as we go through this afternoon. Satellite radar showing that snow continuing to work its way through. But again, we do know that there is sleet mixing in as far north as Harrisburg, but especially parts of York, Adams, Franklin, and even Lancaster counties. The rest of this system still has a long way to go as it continues to work its way up through the Appalachian Mountains, essentially, and toward us as we go through the rest of our afternoon. Wind speeds right now 15 miles an hour in Lebanon, 13 in Lancaster, 12 in Carlisle. As the future wind gusts will pick up as we get to tomorrow, gusting up to around 30 miles an hour. That's going to lead to a lot of the snow that we get on the ground blowing back over onto the roadway. And I know we've talked with some folks already, including Fritzie Schreffler from PennDOT, who has said that, yeah, this is a concern as we go through tomorrow. So not only are they cleaning the snow up once, they're probably going out and doing it again. So here is Futurecast as we get to lunchtime and beyond. Some of that sleet still mixing in as we get to late this afternoon into this evening. As we get to around 7 or 8 o'clock, widespread snow will start to break apart, but a couple of more snow showers still possible as we go through late this evening and overnight tonight. By midnight, though, the snow should be finished. And as we get to even out the door for our Monday morning, could get some holes in the clouds and some peaks of sunshine, but temperatures are still going to be well down below freezing as we head out for our Monday and beyond. And seven-day forecast, but really our focus the next 3 days. Weather impact alert for today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. All because of the snow for today and into tomorrow as well with that blowing snow. But temperatures struggling to even get close to freezing as we go through these next couple of days, even into the later part of next week. Those winds picking back up again. It will feel like we are down at near zero by the end of the week.
All right, well, doctors have some tips on how to avoid frostbite during the winter storm as some people are getting ready to head out and start their shoveling or snow blowing. In the early stages of frostbite, a person's skin may feel cold, tingly, and numb. If you have minor frostbite, put the affected area under warm water. Do not use hot water. That can aggravate the injury. Hypothermia during this time of year is also a risk, so watch for signs of shivering, slowed movement, and altered mental status. If it gets to that point, warm the person up as quickly as possible and get them to the hospital. Keeping hand warmers, blankets, extra clothes, and non-perishable food and water in your car is recommended. Now, if you do find yourself out in the cold, warming centers are open all across South Central PA. One example in York is at Life Path Christian Ministries, where up to 235 people can get out of this weather. They say that they are stocked up on toilet paper, food, and water to help anyone who doesn't have a place to sleep during the frigid temperatures.
We've extended the hours. We're at 9 to 4 all weekend, and so that the public can come in out of the cold. I think the warming station will have extended hours probably through the next week at least, as we look at the forecast, and we'll see how much snow we end up getting.
For a county-by-county list of centers, head to fox43.com. And we are checking in on that radar right now. All you have to do is look outside, but we are seeing that mixture of sleet and snow at this time, depending on where you are in our area. We have pretty much the entire Fox 43 weather team in the office right now. They are keeping everyone up to date on the very latest, and we'll have much more coming up throughout the morning. right, welcome back to Fox 43 Morning News, or afternoon news, depending on where you are. I'm Alex Colley.
And I'm Jackie DeTore, and it doesn't matter what time it is because it is just gross and nasty outside. So just stay inside all day because that's what we're telling you to do at least, and what pretty much every official is telling you to do. And Jacob's going to break down the forecast for you, which is why you're going to want to stay inside. All right. In reality, still a lot of people getting snow, but a lot of the area getting that sleet now that we were talking about.
Yeah, a good portion of the our southern portion of our area, if that makes any sense. Seeing the sleet now compared to around an hour ago, we were starting to see it trickle its way in. I know Sedona had talked about, it feels like the snow is getting harder. It's not quite light and fluffy. It's frozen. It's sleet. That's snow that has fallen, melted on its way down to us, and then froze again. With temperatures down in the teens. It's certainly a chilly one. This is a look at satellite and radar this morning, but I'd really like to get a look out at Harrisburg this morning if we can, where we can see some of the snow and the sleet that is mixing in. There it is right behind us. Ask and you shall receive. There are some snowflakes mixing in, but visibility has improved a little bit out there over the last little bit. We do have an update to some snow totals across the area. Your big winner right now, Lebanon City, just to the west of Lebanon City at 10 inches. That is the high mark right now. 8 inches right now in Marysville and Perry County. Just rounded that up in the last break. Wartsville at Cumberland County at 8 inches as well. 7.5 here at the station in New York, and then 6 inches right now in McSherrystown in Adams County. So these snowfall numbers will continue to climb, but spots that have the sleet out there may take a little bit longer for those numbers to keep on climbing. You see a vehicle out there on the roadway 81 at Shippensburg. Otherwise, things are very quiet across the area from Greencastle to Columbia to Mifflintown, all across South Central PA. Very few cars on the roadway, and that is a good thing considering the conditions out there. We saw earlier what conditions look like, and it was even hard to read which side of the road I'm supposed to be on, trying to get on and off the roadway. And we do have that winter storm warning. This is until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We'll talk about temperatures, how cold it's going to be, not only just today, but tomorrow. And looking ahead into the rest of this week, we also, of course, have the winds kicking back up as we get to tomorrow. We'll kick it over to Tony, who's going to talk a little bit about that. Obviously, the white, fluffy snow that we have been seeing throughout much of the morning today into this afternoon, that's not going to take a lot for it to blow back out onto the roadway. And that's what we're going to see tomorrow with wind gusts up to around 30 miles an hour.
Jacob, that's right. As easy as it is to shovel it and snow blow this light, fluffy snow, the wind is going to have its way with that fluffy snowfall and be able to blow it and drift it around heading into the day tomorrow. Snowfall totals continue to pick up across the area. If you get a chance, do some measuring. Send those totals in to us. You can upload your photos and your pictures of maybe your ruler or yardstick in the snow. Go on to fox43.com or use our app and use the Near Me feature. Also, if you're following us on the Facebook live stream, you can put some snowfall totals in the comments, and we'll pluck those out and show them on the air here coming up for the rest of today as our storm continues. Winter storm warning into all the way through 1 o'clock tomorrow. West and north of Harrisburg, especially throughout Perry County, Mifflin, and Juniata. That's where our highest totals will end up. Also, again, Lebanon County, coming in with about 10 inches of snow so far. 12 to 16, south and east of there, 6 to 12. Much of Adams, York, and Lancaster counties because of sleet mixing in, cutting down on some of those snowfall totals just a bit. Our weather impact alert goes all the way into Tuesday. Now, today it's for the snow and the sleet. Tomorrow, blowing and drifting snow. Tuesday morning, dangerously cold weather comes back in. It's cold now, but Tuesday morning, wind chills will be as low as 10 to 15 below. Those numbers will be common north and west of Harrisburg. Lewistown area, Mifflintown could have wind chills as low as 18 to 20 below. At that point, and the frostbite risk really goes up. And expect a lot of travel delays, schedule adjustments coming up over the next couple of days because of this wide-ranging high-impact storm making its way through the region. Temperatures now, as of 12:30, sitting right around 10 or 11 degrees, up to 12 in Lebanon, 12 in York, 11 in Carlisle, 10 currently in Lewistown. Breeze coming in from the east, only between 5 and 10, but it does create a wind chill factor. Right now, it feels like it's 5 below in Lancaster, 4 below in Lebanon, and 0 goose egg currently in Duncannon and also in Lewistown. Snow and sleet moving from southwest to northeast where precipitation backs off. And again, that's been happening across a good chunk of northern West Virginia, the Panhandle, and into Maryland around Hagerstown, the Frederick, off to the north and east into our region, Franklin, Adams, York, and Lancaster counties. That's why some of that sleet has been mixing in or changing over to sleet. Now further off to the south and west, heavier precipitation across most of West Virginia, rain and sleet there. As that continues off to the north and east, we'll see things cool back down again in the mid and upper levels of the atmosphere, and we'll likely see some more snow mixing in with that sleet as time wears on. And there's plenty of precip in the pipeline all the way down into Tennessee. Throughout the rest of our Sunday, temperatures now lower teens will peak in the mid to upper teens later this afternoon as the snow and sleets continue here across south central PA.
That snow continues to pile up. Now we got the sleet mixing in on that, and Tony was just talking about those extremely cold temperatures. Well, that's all going to play a role here too.
Yep, we are checking in now with Fox 43 Sedona Meadows once again. Still live in York Township, York County, with all the conditions there, and just in time. She probably just warmed up, and now she's back out in the mix. So how does it look out there, Sedona?
Rub it in the warm studio. It's cold and we're getting pelted in the face by this snow. It definitely feels icy. I do want to show you, just like 20 minutes ago, we put that blue food coloring down, and look at the way that it's just kind of expanded. The way that the snow is coming down has kind of hit it so hard that it expanded the color, which is really interesting because when we tried this a couple hours ago, it was fully covering it, and now it's just kind of spreading it out, which is really interesting. But yeah, it definitely feels a lot more icy than we've been seeing a couple hours ago, and we're obviously still seeing a lot of it collecting here. We're in a part of this parking lot near Primanti's and the Hampton Inn that hasn't been touched by the plows, so a lot of this snow has just collected. You can see so much of it. It's not good packing snow. I unfortunately cannot make a snowball to throw at my photographer Dave, and I can't make a snowman either, so that's a little sad. But yeah, so definitely breaks away. And as we've seen some of the independent plows coming through here, you could see how much has collected in these mountains of snow, which is really interesting too. And then obviously overlooking I-83, we haven't seen a ton of vehicles out onto the interstate, which is really good news, but we have seen throughout the morning people having difficulty getting onto the interstate, getting onto the exit ramp when they're supposed to be on the on-ramp, so they can't even see where they're entering on. And then obviously when they go down that curve, it can be a bit dangerous as you're moving through those little bit more icy spots. So it's something to be mindful of. And like we've been talking about all day long, if you don't need to be out today, don't be. Stay inside, stay warm, keep it open for those first responders, those individuals that have to be out on the roadways doing their job. I did actually talk to a police officer off camera, a couple hours ago. He was getting his car iced off, ready to go to work, and he has a long shift today. So just be really mindful of all of the first responders that have to be out here today, just to make sure everybody is safe. So yeah, stay inside. Really interesting there with the food coloring. We're going to continue to monitor that. And I do want to also show you the work vehicle over here. We've been seeing a lot of the ice as it's collecting. You can see how it's bouncing off of the roof there. So kind of feels like a hail feel almost. It definitely feels like one as it hits us in the face here. And also some interesting too is these icicles that have been collecting down by the car. So we definitely are getting pretty cold here. You can see that. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, we're going to continue to monitor the conditions in here. But yeah, very, very icy, very cold. So we send it back to the warm studio there. Jackie, Alex, hope you guys are doing well.
Yeah, we might have to turn the heat down, actually. It's a little warm in here. You did mention, though, that you're by Primanti's. I know there are some NFL games being played, which will help people stay home and watch something. Do you happen to know if they are going to be open?
So it's interesting, I looked, so they're clearly, you can't see, the parking lot over there is very empty. What would be a very busy Sunday is very quiet today. On their website, they did have, some Primanti's across PA will be open, but this one is not. I've seen the chairs are stacked, there's no lights on, and obviously no one in the parking lot. So no warm sandwich for me, unfortunately, but it's good that everybody is staying home and staying safe and watching the game inside.
Good for everyone else except for Sedona and our Fox 43 journalist Dave. So again, we'll send you back inside. Go back inside, warm up, okay? yeah. You know what? Smile through the pain, Sedona. You're doing a great job. We'll check in with you in a little bit, probably faster than you want it to be. Thanks.
Back inside to check on the forecast, and here is satellite and radar as we go through these last 3 hours or so with, again, some of these heavier bands of snow working their way through. Now, we do know, we've been talking about the sleet. Obviously, Sedona just talked about it, that we are getting some sleet. York, Adams, Franklin County. This is the correlation coefficient on the radar, and what we see out of this is when we see this dark, like maroon color, that's when we know, okay, snow is falling. But when things start to break out and we get this orange and yellow mixed in, this is a sign that sleet is falling down. And we have it all the way up to Duncannon right now in Perry County, up to Harrisburg. Could even get a little bit of sleet mixing in parts of Lebanon County, all the way down to York, Gettysburg, and parts of Chambersburg. And we've talked about it already that the more sleet we get, the less snow that we will see as we go through the rest of this afternoon. Now, sleet, that forms, it falls as snow initially. It'll hit a warm pocket of air higher up in the atmosphere. It'll melt. It'll come back down into the cooler air, and it has enough time, since it's higher up in the atmosphere, that as it gets to that cooler air, it freezes again into that ice-like sleet as it falls across the area. Here are temperatures right now, and it's definitely cold enough. 12 right now in Chambersburg, York, and Lancaster. 11 in Harrisburg and Carlisle. 10 right now in Lewistown and in Likens. Across the board, you look at temperatures all the way 1 right now in Green Bay. Good thing there's not a football game there today. 15 in Louisville, 44 right now in Virginia Beach. Quite the opposite compared to everything else, just how cold it is in the Northeast, with snow all the way from Albany through us back towards Charleston and West Virginia, back to Louisville. So this storm is certainly huge and is still working its way across all of the area. Now, over these next 12 hours, the snow will continue. Temperatures will slowly start to rise. And as we get to around 9, 10 o'clock or so this evening, that's when snow will really start to wind down across the area. The winds will pick up, though, as we get to tomorrow. And this is our next concern. Cold temperatures, you add the wind to the mix, so it's going to feel like 0 or below for much of our Monday. Plus, with the light, fluffy snow, there's a pretty good chance that the snow that has fallen today is going to wind up blowing right back into the roadways for tomorrow afternoon.
And of course, so many of you at home, you are starting to venture maybe outside the front door, hopefully not too far, but we are getting some of the photos coming in from you, so let's take a look. We just saw Brenda from Manheim Township in York County. Brio and Cash were the horses that you saw. And then this one is Chris Swally sent us that one. You can see a decent amount of snow there in Franklin County. We also have one coming from Drew Draro, sent us one from West Manheim Township Park. A couple of people cleaned off driveways there. This is Bree Davis, shared the photo of kids out playing in the snow, and back to the dog and the horses there. So yeah, this is the kind of weather for animals and kids. The adults, Godspeed, clearing off the cars, shoveling, and snow blowing, all of that kind of stuff. Obviously, check on your neighbors. Be a kind neighbor during this time. A lot of people are probably going to start to head out now because that snow switching to sleet. Maybe this is the break. People are trying to get in there to try to get the snow before a lot of it ices over. That's going to be a mess. So if you're a kid, enjoy. If you're a parent, Godspeed and good luck. Fox 43 is going to be right back right after we take a look at this radar here, Alex.
That's right. And again, we're seeing more sleet move into the area. Some people still getting snow, but this is a massive storm seen in most parts of the country, and it is continuing its journey through Pennsylvania and right here in South Central PA. The entire Fox 43 weather team is pretty much here in the building and watching it movement by movement. They're going to have more on it throughout the afternoon.
Well, it is a major interstate running through our area, 10 counties in our area. I-76, the Pennsylvania Turnpike, everybody knows it well, and it's a road you really don't want to be on today.
Yeah, crews are out there keeping the highway clear. For an update on the response, we're going to check in with the Turnpike's Chief Operating Officer, Craig Shuey. And Craig, thanks so much for your time. Just kind of give us an idea, timeline. When did crews really start heading out there on the Turnpike and getting to work?
Well, thanks, Alex and Jackie. The work that goes into starting for a storm starts days before the snow starts flying, as people are ensuring that our equipment is ready, that we have all the supplies in place, the routes are insured, and that the plows and other pieces of equipment are ready to use. And they go right from that into the action that you're seeing out on the roadways now, which is plowing, salting, cindering the roadway, ensuring that there's traction for the people driving across Pennsylvania today. And as you guys have mentioned in your broadcast earlier, no one's out right now that doesn't need to be. That's a great thing. We're very happy and thankful that most people are staying off the road so that the folks who are doing the work they need to do can get it done. This is a storm that's white, has the roadway white from the Ohio line to the New Jersey line and all the way up to Scranton.
So at this point, have there been any major issues or closures that you guys have had to deal with or put into place?
Blessedly, no. And we're knocking on all the wood we can find to make sure that continues. A few accidents here and there, but if this storm had come through during the week or at a different time where traffic was heavier, we'd probably see 10 or 12 times the number of crashes we've had today. And all the ones we've had so far have been thankfully minor.
And I think a lot of people are remembering not too long ago a long backup on the Turnpike during the 2016 blizzard. What did the Turnpike learn from that situation that you've been able to kind of instill and help you move forward?
Quite a number of lessons, and it's not just one thing. We have really re-engaged from the top level down, ensuring that our teams have the best equipment, have the best training, are ready for these types of events. Making sure that we have some standby towing in places where backlogs can occur to make sure that when something does stop, we're pulling it out and moving it quickly. We've really unleashed the power of our workforce in a way that we hadn't done previously, giving them the ability to connect, hook up with vehicles, pull them out of the way, really take charge at an incident scene to make sure that backups don't occur behind it. Maybe the biggest lesson was when you have 2 inches an hour of snowfall, you can't allow traffic to be stopped for very long, or it will be stopped for a very long period of time. When we're seeing the roadway cleared now, it's almost instantly white again after the plow trains have run through because it's coming down so fast. And when you're stuck in that, the snow piles up around you and you just can't move.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what you're driving at that point. If you think you're safe in that one, that snow's coming at 2 inches an hour. That's hard for anyone. And I do want to touch back on one other thing that maybe you guys have learned here. So I know after you guys had the issues in 2016 of a lot of vehicles being stuck and some for extended hours, you started implementing emergency kits. Kind of talk about how that has changed the approach to these storms.
Well, it gives us some options to help folks when they are stuck. Obviously, goal one is to make sure that they're not in that situation again. But we've stationed stores of water, MREs, power bars, blankets, shovels, other things across the system. So should we need them, we can start maneuvering them into place to be helpful to try to clear paths, get people food, get them water. We have new communications tools, PA 511 Connect, that would send a WIA alert to motorists when they get stuck to let them know that we can connect with them. And we've started Star 4676, which gives you the ability to check on a backlog and see what's going on.
And Craig, you were talking about, the full, strength of your workforce. One of the newest additions is that super plow that we've heard so much about. How kind of excited were you to kind of get to see what that thing's capable of today?
It is a test that we couldn't have asked for. Couldn't ask for a better test for that piece of equipment. It's out in Somerset right now. My director of maintenance has just been in the vehicle. He's sending back some pictures. Pretty good feedback so far. It moves a lot of snow. It's obviously with a with a 12-foot plus wing plow, you're really moving a very large volume of snow. And in Somerset, that's what we need out there.
Yeah, I mean, Craig, we're going to have to ask you to give us some of that video when you guys get it as well, because I think we need to see that. And I mean, the timing of you guys announcing that and this snowstorm coming, I feel like there might have been something planning with Mother Nature there, but no.
Yeah,
I mean,
we try to buy really big pieces of equipment so that we don't need them. So it didn't work out quite the way we thought it would.
Usually you buy the snowblower and it sits for a couple of years, but you guys announced the super plow, and there it is about a week or so later, out and about.
It definitely didn't work the way we normally plan it.
All right. Well, Craig, thank you so much for giving us all the updates on the Turnpike. Like you had said, knock on wood, at this point, no major problems to report happening on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And of course, that is the way you would like to keep it. So most people hopefully staying home, heeding all those warnings. But thanks so much for all that information, Craig.
All right. Stay home, stay safe. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Checking in again on that forecast and some great information there. A live look over Harrisburg, where again the snow and sleet continues to fall out there this morning. This morning, it's almost 1 o'clock. Come on, get it together. 11 degrees right now, and we're just so used to saying morning over and over and over again that, we're never wrong when we say it. Well, now we are. Of course, our snow map holding up pretty nicely. All things considered, that 12 to 16 line to the north and to the west of I-81 and I-78. Further south and east you were in that 6 to 12 range, and we've already had some spots land in that 6 to 12 range pretty comfortably. Here's visibility right now up to 2 miles in Lebanon, a mile in York, 3/4 of a mile in Lancaster and Chambersburg, down to a 1/4 mile still in Harrisburg, with that sleet continuing to mix its way in across the area. Satellite and radar showing still some of those heavier bands of snow working their way through across the area, and this showing us a better idea of where the sleet is falling. Essentially, where you have the maroon or the burgundy color, that's where it's snow. It's when you get the yellow and the orange showing up, that indicates that there may be a little bit of sleet that's falling from the sky from Harrisburg over to Lebanon, down south 83 to York, even parts of Gettysburg, and for the most part Franklin County from about 30 to the south, essentially including Chambersburg there as well. So a good portion of the area at this point picking up some sleet, which will limit some of those snow totals, but back here in the mountains, Mifflin, Juniata County, of course, it's still snowing for them. And there's still a lot more snow to go back towards Ohio and towards Indiana. All of this moisture still has to work its way through south central PA as we go through the rest of our afternoon. So let's skip along. Wind gusts as we get to tomorrow, peaking anywhere from 30 to 35 miles an hour. This lasts until Tuesday morning. So with that, you're going to have the snow blowing back out into the streets more than likely as we go through our Monday. Futurecast quickly. Again, that snow mix line continuing to hang around throughout much of the afternoon into this evening, but that better chance for some all snow from Perry County on to the north and west. Snow is in and out as we go through around 9, 10, 11 o'clock. Tapering off, and then as we get to midnight, things really start to shut down. Your 3-day forecast, obviously the snow continuing tonight into tomorrow morning. We have that concern of blowing snow with gusts around 30 miles an hour, and then the frigid temperatures staying on through Tuesday and beyond. Notice that morning low from Monday night into Tuesday morning, 1 degree means feels like numbers are going to be well below zero.
We have been telling you all day, local officials, PennDOT, state, local officials, they are all telling you to stay off the roads and to avoid travel. Of course, if you can, some emergency personnel, they have to get to work. But crews across the Commonwealth are working really hard to keep those roads as clear as they can and as safe as possible. But the problem becomes this colder temperature. That's what the meteorologists have been talking about here, because once it gets too cold, some of this stuff just won't work. The Shrewsbury Borough Manager and Public Works Supervisor Brian Schweitzer says that when temperatures are hanging out in the teens, all that prep work that they put in, well, it becomes less effective as we are now 7 hours plus into the storm.
It's going to be pretty cold. Just doesn't work as well. Yeah, it's not working like it should. But once you hit 20 degrees and higher, it'll work.
And of course, there's really no need for you to go on any of the roads unless you have to work, because we've got you covered here. Everything you need on Fox 43. We're all over the area giving you the latest conditions and letting you know of all the alerts that are actively in place. Thanks for being with us on this snowy Sunday across South Central Pennsylvania for Fox 43 News. I'm Jackie DeTore.
And I'm Alex Cawley. Time to get a look at your forecast. If you haven't looked out the window, and let's face it, you probably have. Jacob Pitts is here to give you a spoiler if you've been able to somehow not do that.
Look, at this point, if you haven't looked outside and you don't know what's happening, you're probably not watching us. Let's be honest here. You have to know that it's snowing, and then you'd be seeking us right now on Fox 43 Plus to stay up to date.
The question now, Jacob, right? We've been going at this for 8 or so hours for the most part. The snow falling and all of that kind of fun stuff, heavily falling. The question now is, when is this going to end?
We're getting there. Only, 8 more hours to go, right? So it's been going on for quite a while, and things will wrap up. There is satellite and radar, and you can see that there is still a lot of moisture, especially to our south and to our west, that has yet to come through south central Pennsylvania. So we still have a little ways to go before it is said and done, but we will get there as we go through the rest of the day today. And of course, taking a live look here shortly out at Lewistown. Oh, look at that. Tony Martin, the magic behind the scenes. He got it done in 30 seconds or less. How about that? Good stuff, Tony. We've got the plenty of snow out there this morning or into this afternoon. Not much mixing in as far as sleet is concerned. The bulk of the sleet that we are seeing mix in, that is well to the south of Lewistown and Mifflin County, Juniata County. Some spots in Perry County have seen some of that sleet mix in, but that better bet is from York County over to Adams County, Franklin County, maybe as far north as Harrisburg before things start to turn back to plain old snow. Let's check out some of the snow totals so far. 10 right now, the big winner in Lebanon. 8 inches reported in Wartsville in Cumberland County, Marysville in Perry County. You know, just before I came out here, I saw Ephrata over in Lancaster County. They've picked up a little more than 8 inches of snow so far at last check. York here at the station. Now, this was checked around 2.5 hours ago now at 7.5 inches, so likely a little bit higher, but because of the sleet, probably not by much, maybe in that 8-inch range right now, and then 9 inches at last check over in Chambersburg in Franklin County. Current conditions are pretty quiet and pretty poor out there on the roadways this afternoon from Shippensburg to Greencastle there on I-81 headed down towards Franklin County. 322 in Mifflintown over to Chambersburg, or Columbia, lots of snow-covered roadways out there as we go through the rest of the afternoon. PennDOT trying their best, but that snow keeps falling. Now, the good news is the heaviest of the snow, that has pushed off, especially now that the sleet is mixing in some spots. We may be able to pick up another additional inch or so of snow once this is said and done, but for the most part, the heaviest is out of here. That is the good news. You're still going to have a lot of impacts as we go throughout the rest of the day and into tomorrow. We'll turn it over now to Tony, looking ahead to, okay, what comes next? Obviously, that winter storm warning lasting until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. And Tony, the key going to be the winds that are showing up as we get to tomorrow afternoon and then into our Tuesday. That could bring some of the snow that crews get off of the roadways right back onto it.
Jake, true. You know, after this storm makes its way out of our hair later on tonight, we're still going to have to deal with the gusty winds tomorrow, and we're going to have blowing and drifting of snow, it looks like, right into the afternoon and early evening. Winter storm warnings continue through 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon all across south central Pennsylvania. Roughly from Harrisburg to Carlisle northwestward, looks like anywhere between 12 to as much as 16 inches before things are all said and done. And once you go further north and west, it's especially true here across Mifflin and Juniata counties. The cold air is deeper, which means from the ground all the way to the cloud, it's below 32 degrees. So supporting snow throughout the entire event, and you'll end up with the highest totals. Meanwhile, further south and east, just a little layer of slightly above freezing air coming in just below the clouds, so the snowflake falls, melts for a time, and then refreezes before it hits the ground. That is sleet. Now, in some cases with storms, you have that warm layer getting a little bit stretched, and it doesn't have time to refreeze before it hits the ground. It falls as a raindrop and then freezes on contact. That is freezing rain. What we have going on now is sleet and also snow all over the area. Weather impact alert through Tuesday today because of the snow and sleet. Tomorrow, blowing snow, drifting snow, falling temperatures later tomorrow afternoon. Wind is going to pick up and really drop those wind chills later tomorrow night and into Tuesday. Wind chills could be as low as 10 to 15 below early Tuesday morning. Temperatures now 11 Pretty popular number. Likens, Harrisburg, also Carlisle, up to 13 in York, but with the breeze, it feels more like a few degrees either side of zero. We're going to have much more throughout the day right here on our Fox 43 app. Continuous updates, live radar, and coverage of this storm as we go throughout the entire afternoon.
Our meteorologists there working overtime to make sure that you have the latest information at home, and of course that you are staying safe just in case you do have to leave your home today. So we're going to check back with them in a little bit. Now, we know the snow is causing dangerous conditions. The roads, not the place you want to be right now at all.
Yeah, and we're going to turn it over to the only person that when we say pack an emergency kit includes a lightsaber. Fox 43's Robert Stover. Keeping an eye on the conditions in Carlisle, Cumberland County. And Robert, those cold temps not exactly helping, but you're in a pretty busy spot out there.
I would say so. We've been at a rest stop all morning, kind of sandwiched in between the Pennsylvania Turnpike and Interstate 81. And we have seen a lot of traffic on the Harrisburg Pike behind me. We've seen, regular vehicles. We've seen the tractor trailers. We've seen PennDOT vehicles, and we've seen vehicles with snowplows retrofitted to the front from contracting companies, landscaping companies. So we've seen quite a bit of action here this morning. For the most part, I think people have been, following those traffic safety guidelines, or rather those restrictions that have been put in place due to just the circumstances that we find ourselves in right now. And, Alex said something just a few minutes ago about having an emergency preparedness kit with you in case you do hit the road. That's actually what we have with us this hour. Now, this is more for, first aid supplies, but it doesn't hurt to have those as well if you do find yourself in sort of a compromised situation, whether you're on the highway or an interstate or even a main road like Harrisburg Pike. There's always that chance that you might slip, or you just feel that you need to pull over maybe at a rest stop and maybe wait out the storm as you have vehicles come by and kind of clear the area for you. Good thing to have is, of course, some water, some food, some blankets, a change of clothes, hand warmers if you have them, just some things to keep in mind. Now, because of the circumstances, the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, they did announce a declaration of an emergency disaster yesterday. I'm going to go ahead and step out of frame so you can see some of the vehicles we have right now working behind us now that conditions have improved somewhat, now that the snow has kind of switched to the sleet. Now, what that declaration of disaster emergency means is that government buildings like the Carlisle Courthouse or the courthouse in Carlisle, other county facilities, they're going to be closed tomorrow, and only select personnel will be allowed in those buildings. Now, that declaration also allows county officials to purchase needed supplies, employ temporary workers, and enter into contracts and agreements with vendors in an atypical fashion. Not something that they would do unless the circumstances were as extreme as they are today. Now, the Cumberland County Department of Public Safety Emergency Operations Center, they've also been activated. We've been monitoring some conditions online as well, just to see if any reports have come in of major incidences. We haven't heard anything, at least where we are in Carlisle. That isn't to say that they still can't happen. So do what we've been telling you to do for the past couple hours now. Unless you absolutely have to, stay home. If you do find yourself on the road, exercise caution. Give other vehicles enough space to keep you and them safe, especially if it's a PennDOT vehicle. We did report an earlier incident where a vehicle did collide with a PennDOT truck. So just keep those things in mind as you plan out the rest of your day. We're going to be here for the rest of the afternoon, bringing you the latest up-to-date information of this area. So stick with us both on air and online at fox43.com. Live in Carlisle, Cumberland County, Robert Stover, Fox 43 News.
And Robert, you have been out there for several hours now. Have you been able to talk to anybody? Have you seen anybody getting in and out of the car at this point, or what are you seeing?
We've seen some people come in to get gas, but as quickly as they pulled up to the pump, they ran inside to get something to eat, use the restroom. I did speak to one CDL driver way earlier this morning when we first got to the scene. He pretty much parked himself at this rest stop for several hours just to kind of wait for conditions to improve. He has more restrictions than what some people might have because of the cargo he has, on his truck there. So we did chat. He didn't want to be on camera, but for the most part, I think people have just been adhering to the restrictions and the guidelines in place. So we really haven't seen that many people pull off here to have the chance to talk to them.
Yeah, and I think we're about to tell you about some of those restrictions on the roadways and why a lot of those CDL drivers and tractor trailer drivers are staying put today. Thanks so much, Robert.
Yeah, with that severe weather underway, restrictions are in place all across major roadways throughout the Commonwealth. Transportation leaders enacted Tier 4 restrictions starting at midnight. That means no commercial vehicles are allowed on the roads. That also bans school buses, motorcycles, RVs, and passenger vehicles from the roads. This impacts the entirety of the Pennsylvania Turnpike and all Turnpike extensions, as well as routes 15 and 322. Now, those who are permitted to drive must drive 45 miles per hour or less. There is no set time limit for when these restrictions are expected to be lifted. We have more information on Fox 43 right now, and we'll have much more information throughout the morning and afternoon coming up. Well, right now we want to get a look at how things are going in our eastern counties.
So we're going to get a check in Lancaster County. Joining us on the phone now is Scott Little. He is the chief of the Manheim Township Fire Rescue System. He is also the emergency management coordinator for Manheim Township. So Scott, thank you so much for being with us today. Of course, you're wearing a little bit of two hats here, right? Looking at the emergency management side and also hoping things are very, very quiet from the fire and rescue side. So how are things going where you are right now?
Yeah, so right now here in Manheim Township, Lancaster County, we just reported we have over 11 inches of snowfall at the Public Works facility in Manheim Township. Currently, we also have it turning over to sleet. So one of the things right now that Public Works is working on is to do one pass-through of every township road in conjunction with our state partners from PennDOT, who are trying to get through Route 30, 283. Every road is still snow-covered, and we're also looking at, you're not going to see a full clearing of roadways now with the sleet falling until precipitation stops, due to the fact that we would rather have the sleet lay on top of the snow versus the sleet laying on the bare roads.
And just what kind of, how does the expectation of what you expected to see out there matching up with what you are seeing out there today?
Yes, what we're seeing here in Manheim Township currently is most roadways are impassable without four-wheel drive capability. And again, that every roadway, we are seeing that with our driving on Route 30 and 283, and from our live cameras, everything is still snow covered, and obviously we have some wind and drifting of snow, so the road crews are trying to keep up with it and trying to get that at least that one full pass through completed at this point.
I think what you said before was really interesting when it comes to some of the stuff there as well, when you were talking about how that you want to make sure the sleet is falling on top of the snow and not just on the bare roadway. Of course, it's hard to get the bare roadway, but on the roadway. So how does that change the plowing procedure that you have at this point now that a lot of things in that area have switched over to sleet?
Yeah, so right now they're continuing to try to get that one pass through open for roadways for vehicle traffic. But again, not having that bare road or that minimum amount of snow on the roadway, we're trying to get the sleet to lay on top of a more impactful amount of snow before the township road personnel will get back out there. So again, that's why we're reminding township residents that you're really not going to see complete clearing until everything stops.
From a fire department perspective, obviously there are probably some extra steps you have to take with the way the weather is now. What are some of the things that they have to deal with if they do have to respond to something?
Yeah, so right now we have above minimum staffing personnel in stations with our other public safety agencies in Manheim Township. So police, fire, and EMS are all responding together out of currently the fire stations in Manheim Township. We also have a fire vehicle with plow capabilities that is responding with the ambulance on all calls so that they can give them a fresh plow through of the snow to get to that emergency location and get that patient transported to local hospitals.
And any idea at this point how many calls, if any, you guys have had to deal with?
Yeah, so right now we are at a dozen calls in Manheim Township since the beginning of the snowfall, and that is calculating police, fire, and EMS calls together.
Are those mostly emergency related, or do you think they're snow related in that as well?
Yeah, so there's a mixture of some vehicles, as we keep reminding folks that we want everybody to stay off the roads, please stay home, allow the public road crew members to do their job without vehicles on the roadways. So some of the things that did occur this morning are vehicles that are not four-wheel drive capability that are getting stuck in the roadway, which makes the road crew personnel have to stop and can't get their complete plow through until that vehicle is moved. So it's been an array of emergency calls so far for the day.
As far as that number, how, I guess, fortunate are you feeling the fact that this is all happening on a Sunday when, this, if it were a midweek day, those numbers could have been up?
Yeah, absolutely. We are thankful that it is Sunday. Everybody, for the majority, are staying off the roadway, staying home, staying in the warm.
And that is exactly why us here at Fox 43 are trying to prepare people as much as possible, as early as possible, to make sure they were off the roads today so people like you and your crews could be out there and help when it was needed and when it still could be needed. We got a lot more to go. So Scott Little, thank you so much for giving us all of the latest coming out of Manheim Township in Lancaster County. For you.
Checking out a live look at Lewistown right now, and some pretty heavy snowfall starting once again at our Lewistown camera, and we've been watching what we've called the correlation coefficient on the radar over this last little bit. We're going to show it in just a second, but it appears some of those spots where they have had sleet have cooled off again. We've had some heavier bands of snow move back into the area, and it's just overwhelming that warm air, and it's just pushing through it and dropping snow in some spots of our area. So our snow totals, once again, as this thing is wrapping up, we get 6 to 12 for the folks south and southeast of 81 and 78. To the north of 81 and 78 and northwest, you're talking in that foot to 16-inch range or so, and 4 to 8 stemming really back towards Philadelphia and off towards New Jersey. Now, we've had some spots down in this purple area that have already reported some pretty high numbers. We just heard out of Manheim Township, 11.5 inches. That got my attention really quick. Like, whoa, that's very close to our top edge for that area. But we've had some reports in Lewistown of only 5.5, 6 inches so far. Visibility is down though, and you have some spots where we may have had some of that sleet up to 1.5 miles, 2.5 miles in Lebanon is visibility. Then you get further back to the west, it's down to 1/2 mile in Chambersburg and Carlisle, 1/4 mile in Harrisburg and Lewistown. So here's satellite radar. Let's set the table for you. We did have some holes that had some sleet making its way through, but notice some of these heavier bands right now in this corner of Franklin, Cumberland, and Adams County near Shippensburg, riding along I-81, and another band here along Route 15 headed towards York County. Some of that heavier snow moving back in. Here's the current correlation coefficient. Notice how we did have some of the yellow and the orange in there. That's indicators of sleet. It is filled back in with this darker red. That is the snow. So as we go through a lot of this, notice this carve out that we have down from Carlisle down towards York and back up to Lebanon, where there was some sleet mixing in, now back to full snow. And even over these last couple of hours, it'll disappear for a second, but you can see how some of that sleet is just falling apart, and the cooler air is winning, and the snow rate is winning right now, and that is allowing more snow to fall. That's good news for the people that want some more snow. Bad news for the folks that want a little less, although sleet's not necessarily a grand option right now either. Still a lot of moisture, though, with this system stemming all the way back down towards the south. And we have a long way to go before this thing is said and done. Right now, a little shy of 1:30, and we're taking a tour back over to you guys. Hi, guys. Hope you're doing well. And I'm not sure if that's my cue to wrap up or not, but we're going to keep it on, I guess. And wind gusts as we go through tomorrow into Tuesday, and I think we're going to go back to you guys now.
All right, Jacob, thank you so much. We want to see if we can get our mics up here so we can tell you about exactly what is going on at the moment, because we want to see if we can get back out to Oxford.
Hey guys, yeah, we are definitely still feeling that iciness on our faces. Like, you know, Jacob was saying, that sleet, you know, I think of the song, sleet, 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 you know, change the word there. But yeah, it definitely feeling it in the face. We have been monitoring how high the snow levels have been kind of in this area of this parking lot. We are near Hampton Inn and Primanti Brothers, so we are going to check this with our handy dandy yardstick to see what we're seeing right now. Now, this is kind of an untouched area. I have been seeing in some areas it says 7, a little bit like 7.5, so we're definitely seeing a good bit of collection of snow in this area this afternoon now. You know, like we were saying earlier this morning, it kind of felt like that, you know, softer, fluffier snow, and now it's feeling like that ice. And we've seen a lot of independent snowplowers kind of coming through this parking lot, shoveling all of that snow. You can see that huge pile right here, how much snow has been really accumulating in this parking lot. Now, we are taking a good look at I-83, both north and southbound. And, you know, since we've been here, the good news is that we haven't seen a lot of vehicles out on the interstate. We've seen, you know, obviously first responders out there, you know, fire trucks, EMS, police vehicles, those that need to be out on the roadways right now. They've been out there. We have seen some other just regular cars going on here. Something that we have been seeing too is visibility wise, you know, people have been struggling to see exactly where that, you know, on ramp is. They've been going on the exit ramp, entering the wrong way, and then realizing their mistake and having to go over the barrier there onto the right way there. So There definitely is some concern too as you get onto that on-ramp because, you know, the plows, they're working hard. We've been seeing several throughout the last several hours working hard on the interstate, you know, every couple hours getting through. But those on and off ramps the visibility is a bit difficult there. So something to keep in mind if you do have to be out on the roadways today, just really take it slow. But seriously, if you don't need to be out today, don't be, because we're feeling the ice on the face. And we did put some food coloring in the snow earlier to see kind of what it did. You know, 30 minutes ago or so, we saw that kind of expand. A plow did come in and, you know, got rid of my experiment, which is okay. They're doing their job, but we got to do the food coloring again, and we're going to check in here in a little bit. And I also did put a water bottle in over here to see what it does with the you know, freezing temperatures that we are seeing. But again, that got plowed in there. So I think I'm gonna have to be doing some digging in here to find my water bottle in this huge mound of snow, just to give you guys an update on where we're seeing with those water, you know, temperatures being in the snow. So we're gonna keep going with the experiments, but I'm gonna send it back over to you, Jackie and Alex, and I'm gonna hopefully warm up in the car.
I'll tell you, we've got plows ruining her science experiment. She can't throw snowballs at her photographer. It's just a tough day to be Sedona.
Getting pelted in the face.
Yeah, with ice.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
yeah. She's trying.
I did hit Dave with a chunk.
Well, hopefully that wasn't the water bottle. That truck may be filled with blue food color. We got to check on him. But you know what? The water bottle probably going to ice over even quicker now. It seems very well snow insulated there.
Yeah.
So A+ on trying for the science experiment, Sedona. Oh my gosh, she doesn't even have it. That's bare just going with her hands. There's a shovel in the news vehicle.
Yeah.
We made sure that they were stocked with them before you went out today. She don't need it.
No worries. Just use the
She's like
hands.
a
It's fine.
kid at the beach. All right, Sedona, thank you so much. We're starting to lose it here. We're having fun. Thank you.
Oh, is it possible to have cabin fever but not be inside? All right, we're taking a look at the radar right now. This is the bigger picture of what South Central PA, the Commonwealth, and this whole region is taking a look at and seeing right now if you look out your window. And this is just a massive storm that is really just taking over most of the entire country, all seeing different aspects of it as we start to see sleet moving into our part of the area. We've got the Fox 43 weather team in the station right now. They are monitoring every aspect, and we will have much more coming up with them coming up throughout the afternoon and evening. Welcome back, and thanks for watching us today over on Fox 43 Plus and Fox43.com. I'm Alex Colley.
And I'm Jackie DeTore. We are still right smack dab in the middle of the snowstorm, so we are giving you all the information that you need to keep you safe and home today, and if you got to go out tomorrow, what things are going to look like there. So we're going to start now with Jacob Hitz, who is joining us with a look at some of the current conditions out there. Now, we know sleet is happening in a lot of south central Pennsylvania, a lot, south of the Turnpike and in that area. But it is so cold out. So you would
What do you mean?
You would think this would be snow. Why is it sleeting when it's so cold?
We have just a little bit of warmer air higher up in the atmosphere. And as that snow falls from the clouds, it runs into that warmer air, it melts, comes back down into that colder air and freezes again, and that's where we get that sleet. So a quick look at satellite and radar here, and you can see that a lot of the pink, that's our sleet, is showing up further south on the map. But we know that we have had some sleet in our area here as of late. Now let's talk about these types of winter precip if we can. Obviously, there's snow, check. There's sleet, freezing rain, and just plain old rain. Well, the good news is we don't really have to worry about the rain and the freezing rain. Those impacts are further off to our south. It's the snow and the sleet. Obviously, with the colder air, it's going to stay as snow. But as you get higher up into the atmosphere, we can get some pockets of warmer air. So as that snow starts to fall again, it melts and refreezes with how much cold air there is underneath it. There are also some instances where even though the warm air is there, there's so much snow falling at the same time that it's able to cool down that warmer air essentially, and it will just keep falling as snow by the time it gets to us. No worries again about freezing rain or rain with this system for us. Here's a look where it is just snowing right now up in Lewistown with quite a bit of snow continuing to fall up in Mifflin County as we go through this afternoon. Here's another look at snowfall total. Silver Spring Township in Cumberland County at around 8 inches. Similar story in Marysville and Perry County. Lebanon clocking in at 10. And of course, we heard from officials over in Lancaster County, Manheim Township coming in at around 11.5 inches right now. Chambersburg in Franklin County at 9. Things are, okay. The camera's not working right now, but pretty similar story if you look at Mifflintown White. That's the thing you need to know. The roads are snow covered, hardly any vehicles out there. At best, a lot of snow plows. But as they come through, they plow the area, snow comes right back down on top of it, and it looks like nothing was done anyway in the first place. So winter storm warning lasting for our entire area until 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We're going to shift gears. We're going to head over to Tony to talk more about the wind that is on the way as we get to tomorrow. Obviously, there are still some spots where we're getting a decent amount of snowfall as we go through the rest of this afternoon. But Tony, as crews get to work this evening, overnight tonight, when that snow stops, they get the snow off the roadway. That snow's going to come right back thanks to that wind.
Jacob, that's right. We've been talking about this storm, preparing everybody for days now, and we're going to continue to follow it throughout the entire day, town by town, hour by hour, right here on Fox 43 Plus. Winter storm warnings go all the way through 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. The brunt of the storm will end later tonight, but we're going to have blowing and drifting snow into Monday. Anywhere from 12 to 16 inches of snow total when things are all said and done from Harrisburg northwestward. Now, what's on the ground now, if you've been picking up on some sleet over the last couple of hours in your neighborhood, that snow will compact a bit, so we'll get some additional snow on top of it. In some cases, that will be in addition. So if you put the ruler in the ground, it's going to be lower now than what it was a couple of hours ago because of the sleet. Keep that in mind for your eventual totals if you're keeping track at your house. It's additional snowfall now on top of what the highest point was a couple of hours ago. 6 to 12 inches, very common throughout York and Lancaster counties with some isolated amounts a little higher than that, especially here the further north and east that you go, northern Lancaster and southern parts of Lebanon County, but it still looks like the big winners will be across Mifflin and Juniata. Sunday through Tuesday, our weather impact alert now all the way through Tuesday morning. Today, the falling snow and sleet, bad travel conditions. Tomorrow, it's the blowing snow, so additional travel issues are likely from Monday, and then we switch gears and focus on the bitterly cold temperatures and wind chills into Tuesday. Frostbite risk goes up pretty quickly. Later Monday night, Tuesday morning, as little as 30 minutes to exposed skin with wind chills between 10 and 15 below. Temperatures now sitting in the low teens, very slow to rise throughout the day. No doubt about it, this is a very cold storm. Wind chills running in the single digits across a large part of the area. Snow, some sleet, still mixing in, especially right along and south of 30. But as heavier rates come through, It does cool the atmosphere, and we do change back over to mostly snow. And speaking of heavier rates, there's plenty in the pipeline off to the south and southwest. So we're going to be into this for a little while still, likely all the way through 10 or 11 o'clock tonight.
That snow and sleet continues to fall all over south central Pennsylvania, and it's coming down at a pretty good speed right now. So our live team coverage is going to continue, and now we're going to check in with Fox 43's Natalie Caranda.
She's in Manchester Township, York County, after just taking a ride along with PennDOT. So Natalie, tell us about that experience.
Hey guys, well yes, as you said, the snow is still falling down. It's still pretty heavy. It's coming down here steadily, but I did just get done with a ride along with the foreman of PennDOT here, and I have him actually joining me right here. This is Corey Martin, and you kind of keep track and run everything up and down 83. What's it been like for you guys today?
Well, it's been a long, tedious job. We're keeping up with the storm. We're keeping it going, but of course, 1 to 2 inches an hour, it's a little tough, but we're still going after it. We're not losing the roadway, so roads are still passable. So we're doing good.
And you were telling me that although you guys were prepping all week long in the car or in the ride along, in the truck that we were just in, you were saying how the sleet and it started to turn to ice a little bit sooner than you guys expected. But talk to me about that.
Well, it's helping us out because the ice is going to eventually prevent a lot of drifting at the end. So we're doing that, but again, motorists need to be careful because with freezing rain and ice and sleet, eventually the roads are going to get iced over eventually. I mean, it's still 11, 13 degrees outside right now, so just got to be careful.
And how many crews will you guys have, from now until whenever it ends? How often are you switching out and everything, coming back and loading up more brine and whatnot?
Our operators are switching out every 12 hours. They're doing 12-hour shifts. But all of our trucks, I think we have about 90 or so in the county, all of them will be manned until this is over with. And we get everything cleaned up.
And how does, dealing with all of this, how does it make you feel? Is it exciting, nerve-wracking? Talk to me about the feelings.
This is exciting. We have a lot of new operators, so as a foreman, you kind of have that nervousness of what's going to happen. But our operators are doing a good job with the amount of experience and training that we've given them. They're doing a great job out here. They're keeping up with it. So we're pleased. We're excited.
And one last thing, what is something what is some advice that you would give to people if they absolutely do have to go out? Of course they shouldn't, as you guys have been saying all morning, but they absolutely have to go out. What are some things to keep in mind, especially if they are behind one of your trucks trying to do work?
If you absolutely have to go out, key thing is be patient with us. We're trying to do our job as safely and as efficiently as possible. So be patient with us. Stay behind our plow trucks. Don't try to go around them. Of course, we're putting material down, so that's where your best traction is going to be anyway. So just be patient with us. Let us do our job, and we promise you we'll make these roads as safe as possible.
Corey, thank you for all the hard work that you and all of your men have been doing, all your crew have been doing this morning. Thank you so much, and stay safe out there.
Thank you. So
we'll still be here, but we are still monitoring the conditions, and like we were just talking about, it is coming down still pretty heavy. It is kind of getting wet. It was icing over. We had to stop while we were doing the ride along to clear the windshields with ice, so we had to get the ice off of all of that. But we're still out here and we're still monitoring things, and it's been so far so good here.
Yeah, Natalie, it looks like you got some of the big flakes falling down there, but I do have a question now. We saw some of the video of you with the ride along with PennDOT there. So that was you guys in a plow truck kind of driving around. We know to get to the location you were at, you were in a news vehicle with one of our photographers. So I want you to kind of compare what it was like sitting in the passenger seat of a news vehicle, a normal vehicle that you're riding on the street in the snowstorm like everybody at home, compared to what it was like to sit in the passenger seat of a plow during one of these snowstorms.
Well, the plow is definitely it's definitely a lot bigger. It was louder. It was definitely louder. But it was also I felt really, really protected as well, because we are up very high. The truck that we were in also has a plow on the front. We were following one, but we were following the one that was plowing all of the snow. For in this particular situation, it was nice because we were kind of following the one that was clearing the way for us. But besides that, having a camera kind of in the corner and talking to somebody, it's like any normal day on this job.
Absolutely, yeah. If you could end up in the plow truck behind the plow,
yep,
that is the perfect scenario. 99.9% of people, Natalie, not gonna be able to sit and do what you just did. So you just hit the jackpot. Everyone else should probably stay home or try to track the plow to try to get behind one to get their path clear. Natalie, thank you so much. We'll check back with you in a little bit.
Now, just for the record, that's not encouragement to go out seeking plow trucks and sit behind them. I know we've already had a couple of incidents already this morning of people maybe following plow trucks too closely and then rear-ending them. So just be smart out there. At this point, again, if you don't have to go anywhere, don't. It's been the messaging all week long as we've narrowed in on Sunday for this snow. Live look right now at satellite and radar, and we still have some of that heavier snow moving through. Now, we saw the big flakes there over by Natalie in Manchester Township where things are falling, but I do want to check out the sleet once again where it looks like there should be a little bit of sleet at least falling. So not a perfect system to track sleet versus snow with this, but nonetheless, back towards Gettysburg and Chambersburg, another shot of some of that warmer air sliding through to give us just a little bit of that sleet falling once again. But further north, especially back towards Lewistown and Mifflin and Juniata County, things are all snow and have been pretty much since the first flake fell a little earlier today. 12 degrees right now in Lebanon as well as in Chambersburg, 14 now in York, 10 in Lewistown. So temperatures still very, very chilly out there as we go through the rest of the today. And that pattern continues as we go through tomorrow as well. Temperatures on a wider scale, 4 in Bangor, Maine, 3 right now in Green Bay. Boy, it's a good thing they're not playing football on this side of the country. All those games are off to the west today. Thankfully, a little bit warmer. 43 in Virginia Beach. Might as well be a heat wave. 32 in Charleston, 15 in Roanoke, 16 in Louisville. And, of course, you have snow all the way back toward the Midwest still as the system works its way to the north and east. Temperatures as we go through the rest of the day today will be hanging around, getting up close to that 20-degree mark by the time we get to this evening. Snow will be winding down as well as we get to late this evening into overnight tonight. But then, of course, the wind kicks back up as we get to tomorrow. That could cause some of that snow to blow right back out onto the roadway as we go through our Monday afternoon. We'll have more right after this.
Right now, we want to get a check on how the storm is impacting Harrisburg International Airport in Dauphin County.
We are joined now by phone by HIA spokesman Scott Miller. Scott, thank you so much for your time today. And what are you seeing out there at Harrisburg International Airport?
A lot of snow and a lot of work to remove that snow from the runway, taxiways, ramp, and roadways. A lot of people out there working like the previous crew you were talking to with PennDOT. Same process, little different equipment that we have, but not many flight activities. We've had one arrival, one departure today, and everything else has mostly been canceled. So, which is good. That allows us to work hard to, remove snow and sleet, if anything else that Mother Nature decides to send us today.
And what does it look like? You said, not a whole lot of activity there. You're kind of just watching a whole lot of snow and sleet fall at this point. But what does it look like for you guys to now plan ahead? Because I'm sure you want things to try to get back to normal as quickly as possible, hopefully by tomorrow if you guys can clear it out. So what does that timeline look like between now and then?
It's really the same process. We have crews that rotate 12-hour basis. And so we're just out there constantly trying to keep the pavement clean. Because you never know if there's an emergency or anything like that in the area and someone needs to land at Harrisburg. So the process continues. The strategy changes a little bit depending on if sleet comes in, and then if the winds pick up tomorrow, then you have more what we call cleanup work versus removal. Because unlike cars and driveways, we just can't have huge piles of snow on the edge of the runway. We have to push it away from there so the lights can be seen and wingtips don't get clipped. So it's a multi-phase. We're still in the push and clean, phase right now. Then it becomes to more of a different type of approach in certain areas. If that makes sense. So it's a lengthy process. It's like we're like in the third round of a 12-round fight right now.
And Scott, that vehicle maintenance team out there, obviously you can't kind of simulate these conditions. How much learning is also happening out there for some of the newer members of that crew?
Every day. Every storm is different. The two previous we've had was just a little bit of, it was snow and ice, and that's one condition. Because especially the runway being 2 miles long, we could have two slightly different weather conditions on the east end of the runway versus the west end. So it's constantly training. We have the managers that have been there for a number of times have been through all of this, but again, like PennDOT, a lot of new crews. They're learning on the fly, doing a great job, and it's tiring. We have our supply staff that feeds them. We have bunk rooms for them. We have the hotel on site. We have a couple of hotel rooms. We try to get people rotate through so they get rest. Because the big thing is the monotony of the process after 6, 12, 18, 24, 36 hours. It's not an easy process, but like I said, Mother Nature gets ahead of us early, but we usually catch up and we'll win the battle in the end. It just takes time.
Yeah, time needs to be on your side at this point. Now, we know a lot of airlines were waiving change fees. So a lot of people, they were able to move flights and all of that kind of stuff. No issues, no cost to them. But as we get into tomorrow and further into the week, it is going to be downright frigid and it's going to be windy. So this blowing snow that's all sitting there, that's going to be a problem too. Can you explain how that impacts what it comes down to, not only departures, but arrivals coming in?
It's the same thing. We're fortunate. Airports oftentimes have multiple runways because you always take off and land into the wind. We have one runway, which helps because we have hills, the geography on both sides, the river and the hills there. We don't get a lot of crosswind activity, so we only have one runway, so that helps. But as you're talking about, we will have crews around the clock because as we push the snow away, we always push it in the direction the wind's going to go, but that doesn't mean the wind doesn't shift. So always constantly having people monitoring what's going on so that if there's a taxiway that's starting to blow closed, we send the blowers out there, we send the brooms out there, same thing with the runway. That's why this is a multiple-day process. It's constantly changing, but we'll get through it.
All right, Scott Miller with Harrisburg International Airport, thank you so much for spending part of your day with us here, and I can't wait to see you next Sunday when I'm out there flying to sunny Arizona. So
yeah, we're all booking tickets. We're all getting out of here, Scott.
Exactly.
So
the Florida routes and the Western routes are very popular these days, so book early.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Scott.
Take care, guys.
Yeah, so nice of Alex to invite the rest of us to go out to the warmer weather and avoid the foot of snow. Wow, what a guy that Alex Cawley is, inviting everybody. Come on, everybody, let's go to vacation. Yeah, I wish. All right. Yeah, okay, yeah. Not enough room in the suitcases, but hopefully we'll at least get the sunshine back. Maybe temperatures above freezing? Can you promise that one too? Promise no. Okay, well then, all right, well. Fine then, let's move on back to the frozen tundra of Lewistown, Pennsylvania right now with lots of snowfall still falling and of course the flag flowing in the breeze right now as well. Here's a look again at our snow map. 12 to 16 inches further north and west from 81 and 78 further south. Obviously, we've been talking just about all day long about the sleet mixing in and how that'll lead to some of those lower totals. Visibility right now just under a mile in Lebanon, 2 miles in Lancaster. Gets worse, though, the further west you go. 1/4 mile in Harrisburg and Lewistown, 3/4 of a mile in York and in Chambersburg. Satellite radar showing some more of those heavier pockets of snow working its way through right along I-81 near Carlisle, headed towards Harrisburg. Of course, we do have to talk about the sleet as well. This is one of the clues that we can help find some of the sleet that's falling. And of course, the red, the dark red you see, this is all snow. It's when you get to the yellow and the orange on the map. That's a sign that sleet is falling, just warm enough up in the atmosphere in the upper levels where we can get a little bit of warmer air. The snow falls, it melts, and then it freezes again as it gets to the colder air closer to the surface, and that's what gives us the sleet. So right now, expecting it pretty much from the Susquehanna River between York and Lancaster all the way to the west, Gettysburg, parts of Cumberland County, and most of Franklin County, back towards Fulton County, and then again down south of the Mason-Dixon line. Over these last couple of hours, though, this has sort of ebbed and flowed. We had a gap a little bit cut down from York, including Lebanon. That has filled in with more of that sleet that has mixed its way in pretty much south of the turnpike riding along I-81. We take a wider view, and there is still a lot of moisture to go. There is the light at the end of the tunnel, though, where we do see some green, and it's land. It's not rain, it's not snow, but just land. So we are slowly but surely getting there with this system, but we still have several hours to go before this thing is said and done. And of course, we will be tracking this system the whole way through the rest of the night, and then we'll be back to cover the aftermath again tomorrow morning. Meanwhile, wind gusts as we get to tomorrow afternoon going to top out around 30 miles an hour or so. What that means for us is as crews are fighting to get the snow off of the roadways with this wind and the light powdery snow down on the ground, that wind's just going to blow that snow right back over onto the roadways. So we could see some travel impacts still as we go through tomorrow afternoon, even early Tuesday morning, thanks to that light powdery snow that's down on the ground. So here is Futurecast as we go through the rest of the day today. Still some sleet on radar indicating as we go through the rest of the afternoon and into this evening, but mostly snow, especially the further north and west you get from Perry County back on through, and that's where we're expecting to see some of those highest totals. Some more snow showers lasting as we get to later on in the afternoon into the evening, and from there, of course, the colder air and the blowing snow, the main story for tomorrow and Tuesday. Weather impact alert lasting at least through the middle part of this week.
So we want to give you a scenario here and for you to understand just how this storm is impacting roads in our area. So from southern York County to the Hershey area, on a good day, you're talking anywhere between 50 minutes to an hour. We sent a crew from southern York County to Hershey and about 2 hours right now, and they're still not exactly where they want to be.
Yeah, we're going to check in with Fox 43's Tyler Poglich. He's going to be able to kind of paint a picture about what he has seen just in order to be able to get out to Derry Township. Tyler, what do those roads look like?
Hey, good afternoon, Alex and Jackie. Yeah, like you just mentioned, Jackie, we are up here in Hershey at Dauphin County, and what usually is just about, a 50-minute drive up the road turned into a 2-hour drive. We just made our way onto Hershey Drive at the Sheets before you get to the Giant Center and the park. And during the drive, we saw at least half a dozen cars not being able to make their way onto the roads. Some of the roads themselves didn't even look like that they have been touched. That's how heavy this snow has been coming down as the farther north we